Rush Tweet said.
Let's give Jeremy the old introduction here. I'm going to start with Jeremy, but we have two Jeremys, one Aaron. Should we title the episode Two Jeremys, One Aaron?
I think we should.
I think it works.
I think it's either going to blow up or blow up.
Yeah. So we're going to call Jeremy. So we actually have a Jeremy filling in for Daniel today.
Yeah, next week we're going to get two Daniels.
Yeah, I guess I should preface that.
This is not Daniel.
He's our first guest. I think we're going to call him Jem. Can you explain to us why people call you Jem?
I assume it's because he sparkles.
Outside of our world?
So, quick news about me. I am Jeremy, but only really in my professional life. So outside of work, I've pretty much my entire life been known as Jem. I believe it started because I'm the youngest in the family. And my brother and sister, when I was younger, didn't want to say or couldn't fully say Jeremy very effectively. So Jeremy just became Jem, which at times has been Gemstone or Gemini or whatever as nicknames. But
I'm not calling you Gemstone.
No.
How about Gemini?
I wouldn't request anybody to do so. But like literally Daniel, who, if you guys don't know me, was actually a college roommate of mine, has known me as Jem since before you guys met me.
Oh, well, I might call you Gemini. I'm going to stick with... We'll do Jem. We'll do Jem for
The
today.
main thing is if you ever refer to doing something with me, people will say like, well, Jem and I went to the store. And it's like, that's kind of how that happens.
See, I think kids had a hard time saying Aaron when I was younger, so they called me Ain.
Ain. Yeah, I can see that.
Ain.
I will confirm Jeremy is a hard name for children and some adults, especially
people who work at Starbucks.
For spelling.
Spelling hugely.
Oh my God.
Very rarely does it get right.
I went to get my car fixed the other day, and now every couple of days I get a text addressed to Germany.
I get a lot of that.
Aaron is like a Bible name, and they spell it wrong every freaking time. It's either
they forget the third A.
So I have so it's two A's, Aaron. I either get Arron, like.
Have they not seen the skit?
Yeah. Well, dude, I get that all the fucking time. Somebody asked me about that. The Aaron. Yeah. I'll like order at food trucks, and they'll be like, Aaron, your order's ready. I got a telemarketer call the other day. I didn't pick it up, and it just went straight to voicemail. And it's like, hello, Aaron. Aaron. I'm like, you motherfucker.
One of these days, it's actually going to be Key and or Peel calling you. You're not going to pick up.
Yeah. You know, they can go fuck themselves.
Because they ruined your name.
I'm over it.
I don't think we get much celebrity overlap either. Like, people don't go to nicknames where you're already, if your name's Tom, I'm sure people reference Tom Cruise or whatever, but there's not a huge amount of famous Jeremys.
Jeremy Irons.
I mean, I have the same exact name as a famous actor.
Yeah.
And that's also another fucking thing.
I imagine you get that a lot.
Yeah. So it's Aaron Eckhart.
Oh, don't tell them who it is. They're going to know his name now.
I know, right? Nobody would know that guy. So he was in Batman and a lot of other movies. He was Two-Face. Maybe I'll meet him one day. I always used the line from that old movie Office Space. Mm-hmm. Like, there was nothing wrong with that name until that no-talent ass clown started coming around.
He's the one who sucks. So I am a fan of Aaron Eckhart, but it was probably the first thing I said to you when you told me your full name, because it's just actually Aaron Eckhart, dude, like the same as the guy?
I get it all the time. One time, I was visiting my hometown again, and there was somebody I went to school with who I hadn't seen for, it must have been like 10 years or something like that. This dude pulls up next to me, and he rolls down his window, and he's like, Aaron, what's up? And I was like, hey, man. He's like, hey, did you know there's an actor with your same exact name?
Never heard that.
This guy's a bothead, isn't he?
Maybe now, yeah.
He's on something for sure.
I don't know. So Jeremy actually brought the starter topic for tonight, and he wanted to go into the topic of death.
Everyone's favorite subject.
Oh, yeah. Well, you know me. I love to get super morbid, but really the reality is that I was at a funeral last week. So, unfortunately, my 98-year-old Grammy died. Oh, we kind of, we knew it was coming. 98 years is a full life. She was the sweetest. She was the best. In and out of the hospital the past couple months, so we had time to prepare. Still hard, but very relevant to us. And with the little kids at home, there's obviously a ton of questions that come up, and you're kind of thinking of it a new way, trying to figure out how do you respond to that stuff. And it's actually a good think piece with it. But the funeral and the service were beautiful, so I was kind of worried going in just because I wasn't sure how the family would take it, how the reaction would be. But the turnout was amazing, and she was truly she was the matriarch of the family. She was the sweetest person, the happiest person literally in my life. My wife, my family can all attest to that. She was the best. So the send-off was genuinely beautiful and amazing. So So I felt a lot better on the way out of it. And everyone in the room kind of felt the same way, where this is what she would want. She'd want us together and happy. She'd want us to celebrate her, not mourn her. That's what we did. And we had a big party afterward, and people were drinking and hanging out. And it was a joyous occasion instead of a morbid, depressing occasion.
Well, first of all, sorry to hear about your
Yeah.
Grammy.
These things happen, it's a reality of
well,
life. But
yeah.
I appreciate the condolences, but as I said, it was the best way to go out, because she hung in there as long as she could, lived a full life, and the family was there to support her. So
We lost a few good ones that a lot of people would know recently. We had,
Oh, yeah,
we had
last
Ozzy
week.
Osbourne. Yeah, that just went. And he said the same thing. He was like, I don't care what happens at my funeral as long as it's not depressing.
Yeah.
It's just like, make it.
he basically
Make it-
went out on
yeah.
his own terms too, because
He
didn't he
did.
say, like, I'm playing this big charity concert,
Yeah.
I'll die out there if I have to, and like 2 weeks later he kicked it, but like apparently put on an amazing show, and like the whole crowd was into it, and just it was
Yeah.
a celebration.
I bet
It's a
he was
send-off.
kind of like, you know how there's people that are kind of like waiting for something, right? Like
Yeah.
they're holding out. Because hadn't he not done a show for a while?
I think it'd have been a little while.
Yeah. And he's probably just like, all right, I got to do it. I got to do this one last show and then I can go. I can be in peace.
That's wild. Was never a huge Aussie fan, which is surprising because I like a lot of like bands in that genre.
Mhm.
I don't know. I never got into it. I don't know.
I wouldn't put him anywhere near the top of my list, but I've gotten into Black Sabbath more lately because we're going through the 1001 albums to listen to before you die. Appropriately enough, didn't even think of that. And Sabbath has shown up a couple times, and I didn't realize how good they are. I've known Ozzy from his solo work, and to be honest, for most of our life, he's been like a reality show star.
Yeah.
Obviously, his history's in there, but in our generation, he's kind of known a little bit more for his personality and his antics.
Right.
Mhm.
They're old school Black Sabbath albums that hold up really, really well. So
Well,
I
I
have
mean,
more appreciation for him now.
They're literally, I mean, Black Sabbath is literally considered like one of the top like
Yeah.
metal bands. of the
Deservedly
time,
so,
yeah.
now that I've heard more of it.
I mean, I grew up,
yeah, go ahead.
my dad was like an 80s rocker, still kind of is. And like, grew up around Ozzy and all that type of stuff. And again, it's not like you, it's not something that I would just like pop in and listen to on a day-to-day basis. But I certainly like respect him for who he is and what he's done for music. And so I kind of got to live through a little bit of the music world of it, like with my dad being into Black Sabbath and Ozzy and whatever. And then also growing up in the reality show time, like watching the nonsense of that show. And it was actually weird for me to like see Sharon Osbourne
Mhm.
and his daughter and his son, and like I haven't seen them in a while, and they just are almost unrecognizable. And we're all going to look different. It's just aging or whatever. But
In a good way or a bad way?
I mean, I don't really want to comment on that.
Not good.
I
huh?
mean, like old people, like as you age, you don't really,
yeah,
I mean, I'm already aging.
yeah.
So-
I heard
look
the
nothing.
same thing.
Huh?
I mean, I didn't grow up with a huge amount of TV in my life, still really not that much. And we didn't have cable growing up.
yeah.
So I didn't see any of the Osbournes, but within the zeitgeist, the last 20 years was more so for his personality and entertainment
Yeah.
as opposed to Black Sabbath.
With
but-
with celebrities in general, I feel like it's kind of weird because it's like you grow up watching them, and then their younger self, especially if they're at like their prime during that
Yeah.
time, becomes immortalized as that image.
True.
And
And then they keep going.
then they keep going, and
Yeah.
and then it's kind of weird. I hit you up because Rob Schneider is going to be at
Yeah.
one of the comedy clubs around here, and I was just talking to my wife. And I'm like, I think it's going to be interesting because I remember a while back we went and saw Sean Wayne's, the like Wayne's brothers.
Yeah.
Right.
And the dude was like unrecognizable to me. Like
Really?
obviously had aged substantially, but I hadn't really watched any of his movies since I was like a kid. What was it?
Yeah.
Like Major Pain or whatever? Or no.
That's his brother.
Is he like in
was
his
it was
50s now?
Huh?
Is
You're
that-
thinking like,
The
don't be a
with the white
menace,
chicks.
scary
right?
movie,
Yeah.
white chicks.
And yeah, I mean, I don't know how old he was, but he was definitely like substantially older. And I was saying that to my wife. I'm like, we're going to go see, if we go see Rob Schneider, it's going to be, how old is he at this point?
Probably in his late 50s, I
But-
would guess.
No, he's got to be older than that.
How much older than
You think so?
us is he?
I mean, I
He
was
was
watching,
doing movies when we were
like,
in high school.
Waterboy when I was like a kid, like a little
Yeah,
kid,
same.
Yeah,
we're not young anymore, dude.
that's what I mean. I would assume he's
Yeah.
15 to 20 years older than us.
Yeah. So that would put him at like
50s?
60, 60 plus 70, maybe potentially.
I don't
70,
think he's-
80, 90.
Well, if he's like, I'm saying if he's older than we think he is, he could be
oh,
pushing
got it.
70.
Yeah.
Right. But yeah, dude, I mean, like a lot of that, just like seeing that with celebrities, thinking about, family, whatever. I mean, I had a grandmother pass away last year, I believe it was. And my distant family, like we're not super close, so I don't really see them a whole lot. And it's been years. But then one day she's just gone. And I think about death like all the freaking time. And it used to be something that I would think about when I was younger, but it was just kind of like it didn't bother me at all. Right? Like it was just like, yeah, we're all gonna die,
Yeah.
whatever. And then now that I'm halfway cooked,
You hope.
yeah, at least halfway cooked, I'm kind of like, fuck, man.
We're
That's
gonna die.
that's right there.
Especially me.
Yeah, especially. I mean, dude, what'd you say? Your Grammy made it to
98 years. So
98. I'll be lucky if I make it to 58.
I mean,
To be honest.
men. Yeah.
you got it in
we
you.
got a bum
Yeah.
rap.
Yeah, don't men live like 10 years less than women?
Yeah.
Something like
It's
that.
probably all the yelling.
It's probably, yeah, the kids. I think I lost about 3 years tonight dealing with the kids.
Dude, same. Kids and laundry.
Yeah, laundry will do it.
Yeah, my grandma lived till 99, but she was not around until 99. She was like very healthy up until like around 90, maybe like late 80s. I feel like it was more like 92 or something like that. And she had like a series of petit mal strokes, mini strokes, like that you don't even notice are happening in the moment. But over the course of like 4 months, her behavior just got like weirder and weirder. Like she would start like talking about seeing things that weren't there. She talked about like a big red wheel that she kept seeing. She was very like acting normally. She's just like, I'm seeing this like weird stuff. I don't know what it is.
What if once you start to lose it, you're actually not losing it, you're gaining it?
DMT dimension.
Yeah, you're being able to
Get
see
into a
it.
new layer.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like that's your
New dimension
transition.
opened
The
up.
filters are coming down. Here we go, baby. That's a whole nother night. A
Yeah.
whole nother conversation.
Truly.
I mean, is it though? Because if we're talking about death, right? Like what happens after death?
What are your guys' thoughts on it?
In my like rational heart, I lean towards just like oblivion, the lights turn off and then infinity passes and you don't notice. But you never know. Like people talk about some weird stuff. My grandpa, when he was dying, like a few months before he was dying, he was a smoker, started smoking when he was 13 those days. And apparently he tried to quit when I was born. I didn't know that. And he got like strep throat like within like 2 days.
Oh.
And he's like, guess it's a sign.
Going back to the pack. I mean, kind of decision made.
Yeah. But by then he was like 70.
I tend to be on a very similar wavelength to you. I'm not a big afterlife guy. I'm open-minded enough about it to admit that I don't know anything. My wife is LDS, so the eternal kingdom is out there. We're married. I support her. She's fully open to have her beliefs. I have no issue with any of that, but I'm of the, I don't want to say like dead over, everything's done, but I like the way you put it, actually. The lights turn off and it continues and you're unaware of it.
That's what my belief used to be. Especially since I got like kind of pushed away from religion and stuff, and kind of I used to like, oh, religion's nonsense or whatever. I actually was baptized. I used to go to church and stuff when I was younger or whatever, and then just kind of was like, no, it's not a thing. But I feel like the more I kind of go on, I wouldn't necessarily say it's like a religious, or I guess you can consider it spiritual to an extent. I've been thinking more and more that it's possible that like reincarnation could be a thing, right? Like if you talk about energy and they say energy can either be created or destroyed. Well, we're all essentially just made up of energy. I mean, even our brain waves, right? It's just like electrical impulses.
Mm-hmm.
So I believe that it's possible that our consciousness could somehow go into something else. I don't know what that means for like our actual like matter and body or whatever, but I don't know. I don't think it's something that we would like remember, which is where that becomes
the past life regression and all that.
Right. Which is where that becomes a little weird, right? So it's like if your consciousness then goes into something else and you don't remember, well then does it even matter anyways? Is that essentially oblivion, right?
Well, you bring that up. Some of the past life stuff is pretty weird because there's a lady, I'm pretty sure it was 20th century, but it could have been a little bit earlier. When she was real young, like 5-6 years old, started behaving oddly. And by the time she was a teenager, she was convinced she was like an Egyptian queen, like reincarnated. But what was weird is like from the time she was very young, she knew details about things that she shouldn't like naturally know about. And I mean, no firsthand knowledge of this, so it could be an absolute hoax.
Yeah, I mean, that's the hard part, right? Like I heard a very similar story where there was like a young kid at like 2 years old kept saying that like he was a pilot or whatever, and then would talk about how he went down in some plane crash and he was involved in some war. I don't know the specifics. Like I'm sure if you Google, I don't know, toddler,
Thinks he's a pilot.
past life pilot or something like that, it'll come
Yeah.
up. But essentially, like he kept saying all these things, and like he would say like an officer's name and like all these like this like specific event.
Johnson.
Yeah.
Johnson.
Smith. And his dad like went and started looking up, this information and was like actually able to find people that were still alive that were involved in this thing. And a certain like plane that had been involved in this particular battle or whatever. And it like lined up with what his kid was saying. But then when you think about it, you're like, all right, did that actually happen? Or is this dad just like a war buff and then is like making up these lies and wanting to get some type of like celebrity, whatever. So it's hard. That's the thing that sucks when it comes to, life after death, aliens, anything. It's like, it's just a, he said, she said, trust me type thing.
I like the idea of a lot of those things, pretty much everything you're talking about. I think it'd be cool if consciousness transferred. I think it'd be cool, that there's alternate planes of energy. I guess I consider myself a bit of a skeptic because I don't have any personal experience with it. And the only things that I've heard are the ones that are closest, firsthand are always relatively simply debunked. And then, as you said, you get into stuff that you hear from podcast stories or online. It's like, how much of this is embellished? How much of this is edited and adjusted? So I don't want to close my mind to it, but I just don't have any personal experience with any of it. So it hasn't hit me. I do think that I'd be more open to that as I grow, though. Because I wasn't raised religious, never had any basis in it, no grounding in it. I was never against it. It was just when people asked me, I wouldn't say I'm atheist. Just like, dude, I don't know. Like I literally had never been to church until I met my girlfriend who became my wife.
Realistically, there's no way to know.
Yeah.
Right. Like even like any of the religious, whatever they say, this is what happens. You don't know. You don't know. We're just a bunch of like so-called intelligent monkeys. And even then we don't know.
Do you think Dalai Lama knows?
You think so?
Yeah.
Why?
He's been out for a real long time.
Just researching.
That gives us credibility, just length of time. I guess he's committed.
He's got seniority.
What is is the reincarnation thing? Is the reincarnation thing Buddhism?
I thought that was Buddhism.
Hinduism, Buddhism. Yeah, it's shared.
I mean, I don't know. I just feel like to me that makes sense, but at the same time it doesn't. I don't know why, like even like I said, I used to be on your guys' plane in terms of just okay, we close our eyes and
then you ascended.
The curtains are closed, right? No, but I'm also like, well, what makes that more feasible?
Yeah.
Right. Like consciousness in itself is a bizarre fucking thing. We don't know what that is.
Yeah. True.
The universe is fucking bizarre. We don't know. We're just like, as Daniel would say, this fucking little speck of dust floating out in the middle of nowhere.
I'm also not trying to convince any about that type of thing anymore. And not that I was in my 20s, but I was a lot more willing to sit down and say like, no, it can't be that. And now I'm just like, hey, if that's what you believe, that's cool. Like I'm happy to support you on your beliefs. I'm completely, whether that's religious, politics, anything. I'm like, I'm glad that that's the way you feel about it. Like, let's sit and talk about it. I might have been not quite the same way as a teenager or a 20-year-old though.
Yeah, but some ideas are definitely more stupid than others.
Of course. But hey, people are entitled to be stupid. There's plenty of them out there. I'm one of them.
So we've got our senses, right? And I think the sort of typical understanding of what the brain does is it's a processor and a synthesizer, right? It takes the electrical inputs from your eyes, your skin, your ears, your nose, and so on, and it converts them into messages. But there's another theory that what the brain is doing is it's actually filtering out information, which ties in with the higher planes of existence. I was recently listening to a podcast about DMT. There was this expert it's a guy who's like spent a lot of time trying to study DMT and not get labeled as a woo-woo person, which is, I think, a hard balance to strike.
Fine line.
And he said that there's like really consistent experiences that people tend to have.
Is this the green lady? Because I've heard of a couple of those too. People who've done it separately, different places, different times, and they all have a overlapping experience. Not identical, but like it's a well-known image that they see.
So he didn't mention that, but I feel like I have heard that one before. He was talking about like elves, or sometimes they're called machine elves.
Machine elves?
Yeah.
Why are they called machine elves?
To preface, this is a conversation with someone who is like deep in the UFO space. So the conversation had a little bit of that bent, but apparently there is a lot of overlap between common DMT experiences and alien abduction experiences, right? So a lot of people who say that they've been abducted by aliens say that, like, you know, they never, like, they went somewhere, but like if you had them on camera all night, they're in bed, right? So like they apparently didn't go anywhere. So this has been like a confounding factor for people trying to, you know, explain what they're experiencing, because they feel it's, you know, 100% real. They're not imagining it. And there's like a lot of consistency across accounts. And one of the things that alien abduction people say is that they were being like probed or experimented on, right? Scanned, studied, whatever, like machinery. And apparently this is also something that frequently happens on DMT, is that like you have an experience that these elves, who people say that they have like a very profound sense of like these being like living beings, not like figments of their imagination, like that they're actually alive and present, that they are like experimenting on them without their consent.
Why would you want to do DMT if you're out there fucking getting probed by elves?
I was going to ask you guys if
And
it's
is there
something that's ever piqued your curiosity, because I'm not a hard drugs guy at
Doing
all.
DMT or just drugs?
Anything beyond, you know, I don't even want to call them Schedule 1, but like alcohol, weed and stuff's all pretty acceptable, but like no interest in heroin, DMT, acid, just like genuinely just straight never interested in it.
Yeah, I mean, I know Jeremy is interested.
Yeah, I'm curious.
I actually appreciate people who are, because the lack of control like scares me. Like the anxiety that comes with it, just that's something that petrifies me. So I appreciate people who are completely into it, and some of the stories I've heard sound fascinating and enjoyable, but it's just like, I don't know, it gives me a totally different anxiety I get with nothing else.
The lack of control scares you?
Yeah.
What scares you about the lack of control?
I'm not sure what it is. It gives me literally like, it makes my hair raise. Like the few times I've had too much weed and was like super anxious was like a fear that I've never experienced. So
Isn't dying a lack of control?
I guess I try to control myself by not dying, but I know that's coming.
But I
too.
mean, like
It's an
once you get to the
inevitability.
point of dying, right? Like not being in putting yourself in a position where you're like safe. Like I'm saying, like as you start to age or whatever, like the process of dying is a lack of control, right? Like to me, what is scary about death to people?
The end.
I haven't finished my books.
Huh?
I haven't finished my books.
What books?
The ones I'm trying to finish.
Oh,
FOMO. I mean, really, no
Right.
longer getting to be around your family anymore. No longer getting to experience new things, whatever it is.
so if reincarnation was a thing, would you rather that over
Immortality.
curtains close?
Oh, I see. Like, but you're not aware of it, so I feel like functionally it's the same.
Right. Yeah, I agree. I feel like in that scenario, it's like it doesn't matter. Even if you were aware of it, right? Like let's say you are.
Yeah.
Say you're aware of it, you start over again.
We've loved each other across 1,000 lifetimes.
But yeah, what you die, you fucking wake up, you're crying, you're a little baby again, and you have another life, right?
You're not thinking reincarnation where you could become an animal or a bug or
No, I'm saying you stay
new
in,
life.
Let's just say you
New
stay in
human
the
life.
same plane of
Gotcha.
whatever you are, right?
No, if you're an asshole, you're a fly.
That's like
Next time you
that
get to
is
be a
part
fly.
of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In some religions,
Yeah,
though.
you're right. I feel like that would still suck though. I mean, it'd be great because you get to, experience again, but then like you have your kids and your wife,
Yeah.
and then they're gone,
Yeah.
right? Like and then
Well, they're not gone. They're just like
they're there
in
somewhere.
California while you're off in like Budapest.
Sure. Yeah. What was
There you
that
go.
movie? There was a great movie with Robin Williams a long time ago about that. There wasn't, I don't know if it was reincarnation, but it was like they died. What was it?
What dreams may
What
come.
dreams may come. He knows. Yeah.
Oh, I was gonna say The Mask.
I don't recall. I know I've seen it,
Well,
but
that's
I don't
Jim Carrey.
recall the details of
Yeah.
it beyond at some point he ends up in his wife's painting.
Okay. So
there's, like,
it's
a
an old
painted
movie.
tree.
We always spoil things on this podcast. We always give
If
it.
Robin Williams is in it, I think it's spoilable.
I
Sure.
think that
but
movie
we
came
give-
out in like 97
I
or
know,
98.
but I'm just saying, if you're going to watch it, or for some reason, we always give a 5-second warning. Here's your spoiler.
All
There
right.
you go.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, Robin Williams' wife dies because she commits suicide. Okay. And there's no like hell. I don't know. There's like a purgatory.
Sounds
Maybe
right.
there is a hell, but I think it's purgatory.
It's the load screen.
Yeah. No, it's not even the load screen. I mean, I guess the way they portray it looks more like hell to me than anything. No, I think he dies first. He dies in a car accident, right? Because he's like, somebody's crashed in like a tunnel. He goes out to help them, and then he gets hit by a car and he dies.
Yeah.
And then the wife gets all depressed. I don't know. I might be mixing it up. But
Never-
either way, she kills herself. He dies at some point.
Yep.
I don't know what the exact process is, but anyways, she goes to purgatory. He goes to heaven, and she's not there, right? And then there's these people that come along to like guide him. I think
Yeah.
one of them is like Cuba Gooding Jr. or
Yeah, I'm
whatever.
remembering that now that you're talking.
Yeah.
Some of these details are coming back. Like, okay,
And
I'm
that actually
remembering
ends up
this.
being his daughter.
Cuba Gooding Jr.
Yeah. Or his son or something, one of the two. Cause like they choose what they want to look like. And these are people from like his life in the past who he respected. And his kids always felt like they made like he loved these people more, or like, you know, was into these people more than his own kids. So they wanted to be somebody that he looked up to.
Dark.
But anyways, he's like, what the fuck? Like, this is not a heaven if my wife's not here. So he basically ventures into hell or purgatory. And they're like, well, if you're there, you're going to lose your mind if you're there for too long. And then you'll be stuck there forever. And so he basically is like, I don't care. Like, I need to get her back. And they're like, well, nobody's ever done this before. And the whole movie's about him going and trying to find her and brings her back. And
So this is the story of Orpheus and what's her name?
Orpheus, the musician.
Mm-hmm. I would like to call myself a mythology buff, but I'm terrible at like actually reading any of it. I just like the encyclopedias.
Yeah.
So the only reason I know this story is because of the Netflix show Chaos, which had like a recreation of that storyline. And apparently that's like actually from Greek mythology. He like goes into Hades to rescue her, and she doesn't really want to come back. Apparently, I don't know.
Persephone.
It's not Persephone, because that's Hades. That's Persephone and
Yeah, I'm trying to recall because I know I've heard
Aphrodite.
this, but
No, is Aphrodite even Greek?
I mean
sexy,
they're all
I know
Greek.
that.
Yeah, they're all Aphrodite is Venus. Yeah, Persephone is.
Well, anyways, he goes to rescue
Anyway.
somebody.
Yeah, he goes to rescue his lady, and he's like the first person. It's like one of the defiance of the gods kind of thing. I think he's a demigod anyway.
This is like the Hercules story.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but not Hercules.
Yeah. But doesn't in the Hercules cartoon doesn't he do the same thing with
Oh yeah, they probably mashed it up because they wanted more plot lines.
sure. What's her name?
Meg.
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 Yeah. Man, out of all of the Disney characters when I was a kid, she was the random one, but I thought she was like, I was like, oh, Meg's hot. She's got that stupid hairdo.
It was the angles.
Yeah. It was the angles. Yeah. And the Greek stuff. You know, the Greeks were good at being like sexy, like the men and the women, all of them. It's like, how are you guys all good looking in these?
It's the
myths?
togas.
It's the
Yeah.
togas. Yeah. I think so.
That idea of death is not the best. Trapped in the underworld.
No, which if that's real, if that were real, if hell, purgatory, and heaven were real, where do you think you'd be going?
Well, I mean, it depends on what religion you subscribe to. Because if you're like half of the brands of Christian, I'm going to hell for sure because I'm not baptized or I don't believe in God and Christ is our savior and blah, blah, blah. So
As a non-believer, I'm going straight to hell. And if you want me to be honest, I'm a fucking sinner, dude. I'll see you in hell. I'll
I
see you
mean,
down there,
according-
along with most of my family.
I mean, technically,
Not that we're
everybody's a
bad
sinner.
people. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I feel like if it was like reasonable we would probably all just go to like some form of whatever the middle was, like purgatory, right? Like you don't get to chill with God, but you also like,
You can see him from a distance.
yeah. Like you're not going to hell because you weren't that shitty, but you're like, you weren't the best.
Yeah.
Maybe we're here right now.
We're in hell.
No, yeah.
I'm enjoying myself if that's the case.
Oh, we're in purgatory.
Purgatory. Yeah. I mean, some people say that, right? Like they say Earth is essentially the middle ground.
Yeah. What's interesting about like the conceptions of the afterlife is like there's a lot more crossover than I think most people realize. I've made some attempts to be smart this year, and I was reading the Aeneid, the tale of Aeneas, which is
Watch your mouth in here.
sorry. I can watch my mouth because there's a camera right there. Yeah, they have a mention of hell, I'm pretty sure, in that story. Man, my memory is just the worst.
Great attempt to be smart.
Yeah, it's attempt. I can understand when I'm reading it, just like math, but I can't recreate it. But anyway, that story is like much older than Christianity. So, yeah, Christianity didn't come up with the idea of hell or even the name.
So you're saying there's a chance it's real?
More like that. There's like a borrowing of ideas, and our religions are very impure.
I mean, I feel like a lot of this stuff is a little ridiculous. Like if there are gods out there, like they're always like jealous, right? And it's like, why are you gonna go and worship some jealous dude who like is gonna send you to an eternity in hell for not worshiping them? It sounds very. I know you don't want to discuss this, but that sounds very Trumpian.
To be honest, the way you put it, I've told my wife for years, whether I believe in God or not is irrelevant. I have faith. I just don't put my faith in God. I put my faith in my friends, my family, the people that I love. We might have a lot of the same beliefs. I'm not religious, but I have a ton of faith.
Well, you know what they say. You've got to have faith.
Appreciate that, George Michael.
That's a good song.
It is.
Can we play that?
No, we cannot.
I don't think we can clear the rights.
Yeah.
Just imagine we're playing it.
Yeah. There you go.
Yeah. And your friends, family, and et cetera never turn you into a bee or struck you with lightning.
Yeah, I don't see them as jealous or unjust or any number of things that I do. I've read the Bible, and there's some very questionable acts in the name of religion that I genuinely don't support and are like, I don't think this justifies a lot of what this is preaching. And I've met some people who are adamant with a religion. I'm like, if anything, you're a bigger asshole than most people I know who are open-minded about it.
Well, what's crazy is a lot of the things too, in some of the religions, like there's shitty things that are done because of like what you'll gain in the afterlife, right? It's so funny. Like it's like, well, if you do X, Y, and Z, you get 30 virgins when you're dead or whatever. It's like
72, but
is it 72?
Yeah.
Whatever. Or just like the promise. It's like, why not just like do good here?
Why not just enjoy your virgins now?
Yeah. Or just, I mean, a lot of the things are
bunch of
we're not talking about virgins
That
here.
works.
Yeah. We're not Epstein Island. What we're saying is, or what I'm saying, I don't know what Jeremy's saying.
I'm not sure what you're saying, dude.
What I'm saying is in a lot of the religions, it's like, well, you can't drink alcohol. You can't get a tattoo. You can't have sex before you're married. You can't do whatever. And it's like, man, heaven sounds boring.
No, because you get to do all that stuff after.
Seems like nonsense to me.
Gotta have faith.
I guess that's true.
No
It's
patience,
kind of,
you can't save yourself.
yeah. It's kind of like,
Spoken from a sinner. So
it's kind of like you tell your kids, right? Like, all right, you behave today, you'll get a cookie at dinner. So it's like you got to spend the whole day being good.
Behaving.
Yeah. So
Cookies are good though.
it's like dessert, right? But you can have a cookie now, or you can have a cupcake later.
I would take a cookie now. I don't like cupcakes.
you're going to
can
say
have-
cookie now or 2 cookies later.
Yeah. All right, fine. 5 cookies later, or 1 cookie now.
Are we doing that experiment?
Isn't that a thing? That was an experiment.
Definitely, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That experiment was like widely cited, right? For people who don't know, I assume everybody knows, but just in case, they did an experiment where they put kids in a room, like little kids, like 5, 6 years old, with I think it was originally a marshmallow.
That's what I had a memory of as well.
Yeah. Which is, what a shitty gift. But they still wanted it because they're stupid, which is how you know it's a stupid experiment, because you're just experimenting on dummies. And they said, here's 1 marshmallow. I'm going to leave it here. If I come back and it's still here, you can get another marshmallow. I'll be back in 10 minutes. And they would leave and come back, and they had cameras on the kids, and you just watch the war and the saliva on their faces. And some of them, they made it. And they got
I thought all of them went for it.
Oh no,
I
some of
thought
them
not
did it.
many of them made it. Like the overwhelming majority ate it or touched it or licked it or whatever.
Yeah, but it was still there. I mean, like some of them definitely ate it. Some of them were like, yeah, mine.
Yeah.
But some of them, struggled and then ate it, and some of them struggled and then made it through, and then they got their second marshmallow. And this was used to propose the idea that some people have willpower and others don't, like innately, because they're children. And basically that this innate willpower was like a long-term determinant of success.
Huh.
But much more recently, the experiment was redone with another framing. And this sort of shows how framing is important for understanding science, because if you don't understand your own biases, then you're not going to understand your result. One of the things they did not pay attention to in the original experiment, or maybe they did and they misinterpreted it, or maybe this is also a misinterpretation, but is socioeconomics. So broadly, right, the rich kids, the kids who didn't ever go to bed hungry or have to like worry about getting their next meal, they were much more likely to hold out, whereas the poor kids were much more likely to eat the marshmallow. And I think actually they did like pay attention to this in the original experiment, and the conclusion was, oh, these rich kids have better genes, right? And that's why they come from rich
I feel
parents.
like the rich kids would be more likely to take it.
No way. I mean, I can see why the results,
Yeah.
the updated published version, sheds a lot of light on it.
And so the conclusion is, right, if you grow up hungry, or if you have 4 siblings and you got to fight for that last French fry, right? You never bank on the future. You bank on now. And so it's more of like these are different survival traits, right? The rich kid is like, oh, like I recognize that if I have self-control, I can get the thing I want later.
Or he gets a treat every day. So what's one more marshmallow?
Yeah,
Versus
exactly.
the kid who's literally had one marshmallow a year or in his life, and it's like can't hold back at all.
Yeah. And I think the updated conclusion makes a lot more sense to me. You're not going to trust. And also think of all the parents that have broken promises, right? Yeah, man, I'm going to get you that fire truck for your birthday. Don't you worry. Sorry, man. Paycheck didn't come in.
Oh, I know those promises. I feel like, I don't know. I kind of have a hard time believing that, because I feel like I know a lot of kids from wealthier families that would certainly take it, because they're like, fuck it, I'm going to take it and I'm going to get another one later too. Right? Like,
I bet that is an aspect
Yeah.
of it, genuinely.
Yeah.
Like, essentially, no respect for any authority.
Right.
Or their parents were just the people who folded over everything.
well, like they have it, right? Like they have the extra marshmallows to give. So they're like, oh, okay,
Yeah, why not?
whatever. Also, did they take into account whether the kids actually like marshmallows?
Probably not.
Right?
Everybody likes marshmallows.
I fucking hate marshmallows.
Yeah,
Yeah,
my
I'm
grandma
not a
had 'em too.
marshmallow person.
I've always hated marshmallows.
S'mores, not a good dessert. I'm not
Yeah.
a dessert guy, but s'mores are just like
I've
hard pass.
I've
Easily
recently
skippable.
started to like s'mores, but before, was not.
You guys are missing out. S'mores are delicious. I can't eat s'mores because I don't have fire, but
You have a stove.
I'm not going to eat gas burnt marshmallow.
Why you eat gas burnt dinner?
That's not true. There's a pan in between. I'm not like laying
You
stuff
could do
on the
it.
grill.
You could heat it over a pan. You could also make them in a microwave.
I'll just pass on the marshmallows either way.
Yeah, that also.
Have you ever put a peep in the microwave?
I don't
they
like peeps
expand.
either.
You get
Huh?
bigger.
Yeah. You can get like a foot-long peep.
I know a lot of people who would pay good money for that.
Well, you have to wait till Easter because they only come around that time of year.
Easter. Speaking of the dead.
Oh yeah, rising from the dead. I did not know that Easter was about that until I was like 34.
Really?
It was probably sooner than that, but it was late.
Yeah.
I thought it was about a bunny.
I think I've known.
Yeah, I
for a
never
long time.
learned any of this stuff. As I said, raised with no religion. First time in church was with my wife.
Did you celebrate Easter though?
We go down to the park and get candy for the kids
Yeah.
and take a picture
No,
of the
no,
bunny.
no.
But
Before.
I think my mom got us a basket of chocolate eggs, but
Yeah.
it was not tied around religion or
Yeah.
Jesus or
You got
any
it.
way. It was was a
fun.
bunny.
It was a fun
Yeah.
spring, colorful
Like
holiday.
there wasn't like a miniature Bible in your basket and
Didn't see a Bible
crucifix.
until
It was there. It was just really small.
yeah. Put it in the microwave, it'll get bigger.
Now that would be a miracle.
Yeah. Yeah, my kid's been asking a lot about I guess we're going into religion a little bit here, but my kid
A little bit.
Daddy,
Yeah.
who's God?
yeah, somebody at school's been telling him about
These blabbers.
he told me the other day that the universe was created in 6 days or whatever it was. And
Dad, did you know?
yeah. And I'm like, well,
Well,
back it up. And my wife actually got a book because she was like, all right, well, let's get a book like on the universe or whatever.
Yeah.
And so like we did. And the first page was that the universe was created in 6 days. It's 6 days, right? Or 7 days?
I
think
don't.
it's 6.
Dude, you're
I
asking
thought-
the wrong guy.
I'm
literally.
pretty sure he said, "Let there be light," and now it was done.
Yeah. Yeah. So it says that. But then I'm like, wait, what the fuck? Where'd this book come from? And then I turned the page and then it was like talking about the different religions, how, even like Native Americans and whatever said, okay, well, this is how
And they
the-
all agreed on it
created.
was 6 days.
Yeah.
Like that you just bought a one-page book that was
I
just
mean-
sponsored by a religion, and yep, that's how it happened. End of story.
Realistically, I mean, science doesn't even actually, they'll tell you, well,
I mean,
this is what
they're
it was.
pushing it back. They're trying to push it back. It's been 14 billion for like, I don't know, a while. And they're trying to say it's like, yeah, maybe because I think it was probably the James Webb that, we can see a little bit farther than we thought.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My whole thing, even with science, is I'm kind of like, okay, like take it with a grain of salt, right? Like I think a lot of the stuff is really the best educated guesses that we have.
Yeah.
But
sure.
also I feel like that's the point of science, right? Like it should be able to be disproved and like transitioned and
It's
grown
also
upon. and whatever.
progressive. It's not set in stone 2,000 years ago or whatever.
Right. But it seems like a lot of it has been recently.
I don't know if you've heard of the Georgia Guidestones.
Hit me.
They were actually set in stone. But somebody blew them up.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
This is recently,
Yeah.
like 2 years ago, something like that.
But it seems like they were probably part of an end of the world culty thing. So it's good. Anyway, look that up.
Yeah. Why don't you
Add it to
describe?
the list.
No, just describe it. Describe what the Georgia. It's an interesting thing.
Is it Georgia? I feel like I'm naming
I don't
it
know.
wrong.
Let's just say Guidestones. I don't know.
The Guidestones, somewhere in that general sweaty
Yeah.
region.
I thought it was found out that it was like a kind
Well,
of.
we're both quoting the same source, which is the Y Files.
Is it? No. No.
No? Oh,
I don't even know if I listened to that episode on the Y Files.
well, now you can.
Okay. Yeah.
Shout out to the Y Files.
Sounds like I have some homework to do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you listen to the Y Files?
Negative.
Why not?
I listen to podcasts, but tend to be more of a sports and comedy guy, just because it's background while I'm working.
Well, it's sometimes funny because there's a fish.
Well, if
fish
it's
is-
something that I have to sit down and listen to, I'm answering phone calls, writing emails, so it's background noise.
Mm.
Yeah, like
No.
I've tried to listen to serious podcasts that I enjoy, and 45 minutes go by, and I'm like, I didn't hear any of that.
We
Got
plug
it.
this podcast all the time on here.
Yeah.
It's perfect.
Yeah, the Guidestones. I feel like it was sort of, it was very obscure where they came from, but you've never heard them at all.
Not that
So
I know
these
of.
are
Probably
like-
talking with you over a beer at the bar sometime.
Yeah, maybe. So these are monolithic stones, on the scale of, a monument in a field maybe in a park. I can't remember. I believe it was Georgia, but if I'm wrong, I apologize. And they had various inscriptions on basically like how to rebuild society if it collapsed, is what I recall, right? And it was basically like advice. So imagine, you're in Walking Dead times, or maybe like slightly post Walking Dead times, and you're trying to rebuild, but you've lost the internet, you've lost a lot of like, written texts, and so you just like don't know what to do. So the point of these was to teach people how to recreate, peak 21st century society from the ground up. I think assuming they spoke English. And in like 2014, maybe later 2018, something like that, in like the middle of the night, somebody blew them up with like a bucket load of TNT.
But they didn't even see anybody in the videos, right?
I can't remember.
Yeah.
But like there was an investigation. Like I think somebody went to a lot of trouble after they were blown up to find out who had made them or who had like commissioned them, and follow the money, follow the breadcrumbs. The guy, like I remember the guy who commissioned it, like used a false name. So like they were able to find the guy who built them, who like actually engraved them. And the guy who paid him was definitely using false names and distant bank accounts and stuff like that. But I think they were able to trace it back, and he was part of a sort of culty religion.
Yeah, I was like trying to say like keep civilization under like a certain population number and all of that stuff.
Yeah,
right?
there might have been some like white supremacy stuff in there.
I think that's why they got blown up. Right?
Yeah.
Like, isn't that kind of crazy? Like, I think they're actually, aren't they right now creating some type of database somewhere? I know we have the seed storage place in Alaska, right? Like if the world ever gets fucked, like there's like,
are they creating a database to clone everyone?
I think they're creating some type of like database of information in case we go extinct.
Well, that'll be helpful.
For if anything ever comes here, right?
In case we ever restart.
Yeah. Yeah. So if reincarnation exists, if we all go extinct, how does that work?
Well, what happens is they reboot the system.
Yeah.
They turn the simulation.
But they already did that. That we were dinosaurs and then we turned into hairless monkeys.
I mean, I have some hair.
Where are your scales?
I do have some scales. They're itchy. Yeah, exactly right there. Yeah. I don't think we were dinosaurs.
You wouldn't remember.
I'm trying to remember my Bible study class.
If you were trying to remember your Bible study class, dinosaurs don't exist.
I don't think they're mentioned in that one.
Yeah.
There's a great I'm terrible with names today. Ted Chiang, is that right? Science fiction writer. He wrote the story that Arrival was based on.
Oh yeah. It was a great movie.
It was good.
Yeah.
No spoilers. I haven't seen it.
What?
I read the story it's based on, so I guess no spoilers.
If you guys haven't watched Arrival, go watch Arrival. Watch it.
It's good.
Yeah. He wrote a story in which, so, I mean, world was built in 6 days. So the whole, the people who followed the Bible, not all of them, but plenty of them, subscribe to like certain theories that the world is, what, like, is it 3,000 years old? 6,000?
I don't know. It's like just a couple. We're asking the wrong guy over here. It's definitely not that long.
Yeah.
I thought it was like 2,000, but I could be wrong.
And so
I know it can't be 2,000 because we're in 2025. So it's got to be.
It's 2,025 years old.
Isn't that? Well, no. I know I'm interrupting you right now, but is that not fucking bizarre that our entire like timeline is based off of the Bible and Jesus Christ?
And we base the whole calendar and
yeah.
measure everything off of it.
Which I was thinking about that. Other countries also are in 2025, right? But they don't.
Different. Some countries have different calendars.
Does
but
China are they in like?
I bet they do.
Have a different year.
My first thought. I thought China was on a different.
I mean, I know they have the Chinese.
They
New
probably
Year.
recognize 2025 just
I
because
bet,
of global reasoning,
because of computers.
Yeah.
And imperialism.
Do you have a better idea? Again, like we're just gonna start over at year 0 now, even if people agreed.
Who's the new Jesus?
I mean, I bet you I could tell you who's going to claim they are. It's just to me, it's just wild that it's just like everybody just accepts that. Yeah, I for some reason never even thought about it until recently. Like, I mean, I know it's the whole kind of like after death, whatever, or it's not even after death. What does that stand for? It's
Anno Domini, Year of the Lord.
Yeah, that's wild.
Saints Preservus.
It just never clicked on me until like a week ago.
That's really late.
I know.
You got to think.
I mean, I know that I've thought about it before.
I feel like as a child, a lot of us were like, wait, what?
I've thought about it, but the fact that I was like, wait a minute, the whole fucking world follows this. And I know damn well the whole world is not Catholic.
And then somebody in China is like, fuck you,
man. But like he said, computers, or you said somebody.
I said that.
Yeah.
Wrong
we'll give him the credit.
Thank you. But Ted Chiang has this story. It's most of what he writes are short stories. So like, okay, the 3,000-year-old thing, 3,000-year-old world. You ask Christians, so how do you explain the dinosaurs, the dinosaur bones? And the answer I've gotten is like, oh well, he put them there.
Yeah,
yeah. That's the accepted one.
I had an interesting household when I was in my early mid-20s.
Yeah.
And I went through several roommates and somehow got in a situation where I was one living there because I had been in the house for a while. Then I had a girl living with me that was like super Christian. And then I had another guy that was living with me who was like Antichrist.
Nice.
He was out like literally trying to bang like 5 chicks every night. Like his whole food cabinet was just filled with fucking creatine and protein powder and
this is a
5-hour energy.
This is a bad sitcom.
It was.
Three's Company.
He used to, what did he call it? He called it, before he went out at night, he would call it the stuff that he mixed together. It was his rage kit.
He's got a name for it. That's excellent.
Rage kit.
Yep.
And then
Gotta get
he
raged
called
up.
girls slippery slam holes.
This guy's a real treat.
So somehow we all existed in the same house together. Like I was in the middle. Definitely never called girls slippery slam holes, but I wasn't fucking super Christian or whatever. Right? And then there's her on one. And so it was a wild household. And I used to watch a lot of Ancient Aliens and whatever, but I would also watch the History Channel, whatever. I was watching something on dinosaurs.
Yeah.
And it was like talking about, dinosaurs existed X, Y, and Z years and something about the fossils. And then the girl walks out and she just goes, and I was like, what? She's like, come on, dinosaurs aren't real. And I was like, are you serious right now? I was like, how do you explain the fossils? She's like, God put them there as a test. Duh. And I was just,
And you failed, Aaron. You failed the test. That's why she laughed at you.
What's hilarious is like people on both sides, like the other side's an idiot.
I know.
These fucking rubes think the dinosaurs were real. Oh my god.
But come on.
Yeah.
I just don't. I mean, I certainly have religious friends who would be like, guys, come on, dinosaurs are real. But there's definitely the Cracker Jacks out there who would tell you otherwise.
Yeah. So in this Ted Chiang story, like basically, so like there were certain things you could look at in order to see the age. Like there were natural artifacts that proved God created the world because rings on trees, like the lines on certain seashells,
Penises and vaginas.
like no,
Great example.
great example.
Proof right there.
Yeah.
Case closed.
God would hate that.
No, if
this is
you're married, he does not hate that. He endorses that.
yeah, but only after marriage.
Yeah.
Bunch of sinners in this room. Can tell.
So in this story, there, like if you got stuff that was old enough, it would eventually be just blank. So if you had like a cross section of petrified wood that was like 3,026 years old, it would be like ring, 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 ring for 3,000 years, and then it would just be flat. And this is like because God spontaneously created the world, and there had to be trees in it, so He created some like trees, already made, right? He created some seashells that were pre-made, so they were smooth, and then they kept growing, so they got the lines, right? And I think basically, like, I can't spoil the story too well because I don't remember that well, but the main character discovers something that appears not to have been like spontaneously created, and it's like inexplicable, and so it's like a religion breaking.
Wait, are you saying this is a fiction book or like an actual somebody telling a story of like, when I say fiction, I mean like, was this a real person you're talking about, or is this like from a fiction?
Science fiction writer.
This is science fiction
writer. Okay.
Do you
got
remember
it.
the guy who wrote Arrival?
Oh,
The science
yeah,
fiction
that's
movie
right.
that you
we had
watched?
some tangents.
I think we started that about 45 minutes ago. We started that 3,000 years ago. It was flat up until then, and then we started the story.
Story spontaneously started in the middle. Thank you for catching my thread.
Yeah, there you go.
It's just funny thinking about the world spontaneously being created.
Let's reel it back into kind of like the death conversation a little bit again. I think we went off of the rails on religion because it's
We're
tied
rolling.
to it, but let's bring it back to that. I know Jeremy kind of wanted to cover something along those lines.
It was something that's been on my mind lately because it's something I read, and it's not death per se, but it's a kind of death. So I was scrolling the stack as I do, and somebody posted a note saying, God, it was very grim. So this lady is in her 60s. She's like, this is a picture of my husband. At 58, he was diagnosed with like this one kind of dementia, and now he's 64, and he's basically gone.
Yeah.
And I bring him Burger King meals because that's what makes him smile, and it was like a picture of him sitting at a table with like a Burger King meal. I was like, fuck, this is like the grimmest, like most depressing thing I've seen in a while. Well, actually, turn on the news. It's grim, especially because I feel like a lot of, dissatisfaction in life and thinking about, living a life that's for more than just the privilege of doing the thing you did today tomorrow, if you know what I mean.
I mean, yeah, we take so many things for granted, right? I mean, my wife, I've mentioned it before, works in the medical field, and she'll come home and she'll be like, "Oh, sorry, I was late. Like I was dealing with a patient who got, a brain aneurysm." I'm like, "Oh, were they older? No, they were 25." And it's like, you never fucking know, right? Like I said earlier, like I'm halfway cooked. It's like, I'm lucky to have got as far as I've gotten so far. And, and even that, like, even if I don't die right now or whatever, like we take for granted the fact that like we can walk around just fine. We can, like, we're generally normal and healthy, right? I do have a little pre-cancer on my face, this red dot here, which I was like,
how do you identify that?
A dermatologist.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you went to a dermatologist?
Yeah, I went to a dermatologist for something else, and then I was just like, "What's this fucking little spot?" I figured it was just like a sunspot because I've seen it on other people, and she's just like, "Oh yeah, that's pre-cancer." I'm like, "Oh, cool, okay,
Thanks for dropping that on me." Yeah,
but I mean, realistically, like you put the word "pre" before it, and it's not this big of a deal, right? Like,
it's a good qualifier.
Yeah,
that's cancer.
Softens the blow a little bit. What can I do about it? Wait for it to become cancer and then come talk to me?
Well, yeah, no, it's interesting because like thinking about if she were to just say, "Oh, that's cancer," that's a pre-cancer, right? Like how that there's a huge difference in like how my brain is going to process that, right?
Yeah. Are you going to faint or not?
Right. Are you going to faint or not? But like also like you had mentioned earlier, like how do you go about living your life? Like how does the thought of death, if it does at all, affect the way that you live your life right now?
I mean, you had mentioned that we take so much stuff for granted. The reality is that we are ableist and live in the world of haves because we're, relatively wealthy, straight white guys in SoCal. So there's not nearly the amount of worries. Fair enough, man. Hey, I'm open-minded, but
we can't all be straight.
I think one of the biggest things that brought some reality to that is having children. I certainly think of things differently on account of the fact that outside of the legacy to leave behind, I want to leave stuff behind for them that enables them in every single way. So you said doing stuff beyond just what I can do tomorrow. Like in your 20s, that's all you're thinking about. In your 30s as a father, a lot more I'm thinking about, okay, I got to set up X, Y, and Z for them. And okay, skiing used to be fun, but now, to be honest, it's like I could blow up my knee and literally change my entire family's life.
Or blow up your head. I mean, how many rich people die in ski accidents?
Or not even rich people, just...
Exactly. A casual jump on a skateboard is like, this could literally affect how I raise... I might not be able to run around with my kids if I roll my ankle right now.
Yeah.
So I'm just not going to get on a skateboard anymore.
Yeah.
And that's the type of stuff where that's an everyday item. That's easy to cut out, but that's an analysis that's now done every day, every week by me. That wasn't done 10 years ago or whatever.
I don't even think everybody, like kids, change people's perspective completely for everybody like that, right?
Sure.
Like I think having kids for me has certainly changed. Like I feel more adult than I've ever felt in my entire life, like after I had kids.
Yeah.
But I still also have a slight mentality of like, all right, well, like doing today for tomorrow, whatever, like, whatever you said. And it's just kind of like, all right, I have a really hard time. Like, even though I hear these stories and I know for sure, like I need to appreciate X, Y, and Z. I need to just like be happy. I need to do whatever. But I think for a lot of people, it's really difficult, even putting it into perspective.
Yeah.
Dude, the daily grind takes so much of that appreciation away. It's so easy to fall right back into the rut of just keep your head down, get your shit done, see you again tomorrow.
But it's like, yes, you're absolutely right. But I think that's so fucking shitty. And
it is.
It sucks.
I don't think anyone would disagree. It's kind of a very obvious reality. Like you said, it's the simplest shit. You hear it all the time and it goes right out the door.
Yeah. Why does it, like, look at like he said, look at the news, look at Gaza right now. Look at the fucking kids that are starving over there. It's horrible. Absolutely horrible. Anybody who looks at the news and sees images of that and doesn't stop for a second is fucking heartless. But still, at the same time, it's crazy that you can see it, be upset for a minute, and then go about your day, and it doesn't really change your day to day.
I mean, you can't do anything about it.
Yeah,
You can't
what's
do
your
anything about it,
ability to?
but you can do something about it in your own mindset of how you live your own life. Right? You could be like, oh man, that is so fucking shitty. Yes, I can't do anything about it for them over there. But also like, why am I all bummed out about shit or stressed out about it or whatever, or not appreciating the things that I have?
Yeah, I just think about like how I spend like the lion's share of my time, right? Which is like, I spend 2 hours a day driving.
Scrolling.
On a computer, fucking phone.
I do most of my scrolling while I'm, never mind.
You did say do.
I do. But like I work 8 hours a day, right? I got my hour-minute break or my hour-minute.
If only.
That's a new
You're
phrase
working
there.
too hard.
You're free to use it.
8 hours a day.
So basically what, from the moment I wake up until 6 p.m., I'm basically either at work or driving. And then my kid goes to bed probably at 9, but I'll be in the shower by then. So I see my kid for like 2.5 hours a day. Like, really? Like, this is what I'm living for? And then I work part-time Saturdays. Like, I just feel like the balance is way off. Like,
but do you think that would change if you had a job that actually granted you the ability to have more personal time, or you would just fill it in with something else that took your time?
Well, I will say when I was working remotely, even just that, just like being able to actually so I was able to start when I wanted and finish when I wanted, as long as I worked for 8 hours. And so when my kid was little, this was during COVID, so I had no real choice to work remote. I would start and I would often finish at like 4 or 4:30, and we'd end up at the park, and that's just not something that happens anymore. To be fair, I kind of hated it because the park gets real boring once you're like 35.
But that's the thing too, right? Like, you can go to the park.
Yeah.
The person you were talking about earlier, they can't.
Yeah, that's me. I can't go to the park anymore.
But physically you could. You have the choice.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm not like necessarily talking about like the extremes of life, or death, like the extremes of like suffering, because I don't like, obviously that's terrible. I feel horrible about everything that's happening in the world to people in those kinds of situations. I feel like, okay, I don't know the numbers, but I feel like a very large number of people in modern society are basically just sort of grinding for like to no benefit. Like, yeah, there are definitely people like suffering terribly, but I don't think I can really speak for those people or relate to those people in any like meaningful or useful way. I feel sympathy for them, obviously, but I don't know if I can say anything useful about them. But for people who I would consider to be in my position, I think there are a lot. I think you see a lot of people who are sort of recognizing the futility in the grind, and they're like, I'm going to sort of reorient my priorities. In China, they have a movement called lying flat. It basically means just like opting out of like the rat race, having like essentially a minimalist / impoverished lifestyle, but like in favor of free time. And I think if you can use that, you can't like, so this reminds me of the van life girl who I was following, who posted about how she she started tracking her screen time, and she realized she was spending 8 hours a day on her phone. So she gave up, the house and the lawn and all that stuff to live in a van and explore the country. And then it turned out she was stuck in the same trap as all of us, scrolling social media. This has been on my mind a lot, is like finding a way to like work less. I don't necessarily want to stop working. I think that's like, I don't mind working some. I don't know, like working, accumulating things, working more, accumulating more things. Like, as I think about the approach of death, or the approach of essential death, which is, being a vegetable in the chair, who knows? Because my uncle got brain cancer. My grandma had strokes. Whatever. You don't know what's coming for you. I feel like I don't want to wait until it's too late to figure out what I would rather spend my time doing. I feel like we've been sold a bill of goods on this 40-hour work week.
Yeah. And I think most people wait until it's too late too, right?
Yeah.
What's weird to me is we all know that.
Yeah.
We all know that.
But it feels like a trap you can't escape.
It does.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm trying to say. Like, why the fuck are we like that? Has that always been a thing? Like before, you had to do it, right? Like you had to fucking grind or your family was going to die. Like, especially for the males, they had to grind, they had to support, they had to provide the bread. The females, they had to grind in terms of like, taking care of the household. And this is not me being sexist or whatever. This was how it was back in the day, right? Like the men put the money on the table and the women did whatever. So it's like
they made sandwiches.
They didn't do whatever. They were taking care of the kids, which is a fucking more than a full-time job. They were taking care of the house. That's a lot of fucking work. And now I feel like we have the ability to kind of have more time somehow, but then we also just fill it, right? Like we fill it with extra work that we maybe don't need to do. We fill it with...
I feel like I must be in somewhat of a unique position because I see the futility of the grind from people I know. I don't personally feel like I'm caught up in it. The point of the grind is to grind your way out of it. And I must have done something or been dealt a good enough hand to feel like I'm going to get out of it. Like I worked my ass off in my 20s in order to get to that point, and now I have a comfortable job with a good future, and I've been saving money for retirement and honestly targeting retiring early. I was lucky enough to buy a house before COVID, so there's obviously luck involved in making the right moves at the right time, but I don't fear that I'm going to grind my life away and not enjoy the backside of it. My parents just retired 3 months ago. They've been on the road and traveling, and obviously there's been personal stuff that's come up, but they're free from it. My wife's parents retired a couple years ago. They're free from it and living the best part of their life.
Well, they're retired, right? Like, so once you retire, then it's like, okay, well, I'm retired.
They retired relatively young, though. And honestly, my wife's parents, my wife's dad was 55, government job. My parents are 64, 65, and just retired. Yeah. Honestly, they might have been able to do so earlier, but there was no reason not to keep riding the wave.
I mean, 65 is the retirement age, right? Or it was.
Yeah. My mom worked until 67 because there was like a project going at her work and she was like essential to finish it. And she was like, why not? So, but now, I
think I'm capable of beating both of those though. And honestly, I'm trying to be done with that sooner.
What's your goal?
I think 55 is not unrealistic for me.
I'll be honest, at my current rate, I'll be working until I'm 80.
And that's what I was referring to. Like, I've seen the futility that you refer to.
Yeah.
And it's hard for me. I obviously see it, but I can't relate because I, must have been dealt a good hand and played the cards the correct way, I guess.
Yeah.
Not, obviously a very lucky position to be in.
But even if you retire at 55, you generally spent your life grinding to get to that point to where you could save up enough money to retire at 55.
Which is true, but I come home and spend time with my daughters every day, and my company also takes care of that. We were at a company picnic this weekend, and they're going to my office on Friday. And literally my father-in-law might be
And has it been that way for you always?
Since I've made it a point to prioritize personal life over work. And I've told that at every single interview I've went to, and every single one of my bosses has respected me and shaken my hand and actually said, good, if you're getting your work done, why would I have to worry about you? And I've told them, if there's weeks where I don't put in 40 hours and my work's not done, then that's totally an understandable conversation. It's never come up. And they've actually always said, like, the leash gets a little bit longer. And like, if you have to take time off, go and do it. Like, you've earned the right to do so. We trust you.
I think maybe we're all in 3 different positions here.
Yeah.
I think so, which I totally get.
Well, what would you say to people that want to be in that position, how to get there mentally?
That is a very difficult question. And some of it is, as I said, you get dealt the right hand of cards. I got through college and worked my ass off in my 20s and did sacrifice things to be in that position. Stuff that I've seen. I have a team below me now, and I have 20-year-olds who worked for me who didn't have the drive that I did. And I've pulled them to the side and said, hey, if you want to get to this position, it's going to require, you got to dig in, you got to keep yourself busy, you got to prove that you're the right guy for the job and climb that ladder. And that's an ideal that I think most people think doesn't exist anymore. My personal experience, it does. I've literally climbed through my industry, have a successful job, I've told you guys about my career, and I'm not a millionaire or anything like that, but I'm living comfortably and have carved out free time and vacation and events with my family. We were just in Europe. We were just on the East Coast. I'm not afraid to set my work aside for a few days, get personal stuff done. I also am off social media, which is a huge time sink that came up within your story, and I think is one of the biggest quality of life things ever. Is I've literally never had a Twitter, an X, a TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, just literally stayed off that. My wife has all that, so I'm informed of it all.
I think that's actually a huge thing.
Like you talked
Which is
about
like,
no
yeah.
personal time, and I have significantly less personal time than I ever did before. I still watch sports every single day and play video games a couple times a week and take my daughters out. And it's like the time that I don't spend scrolling social media is probably a giant bulk of that. I also, I don't have a 2-hour commute. I have a 35-minute commute. There's minor stuff like that, but that was some of the setup to eliminate a lot of that grinded, wasted time.
Yeah, I mean, the commute's not a insignificant thing. I mean, that's a huge thing.
Huge. I was going to LAX every single day, 5 days a week for 3.5 years.
Yeah, my wife was driving like 45, 50 minutes each way before we moved here. And then now she drives 5 minutes.
Yeah.
So that quality of life
changer.
in terms of just the time gained in the mood is like
Yeah.
literally enough to like feel like you have free time back.
So I wasn't always able to do this because the industry I'm in, you have to be like, I'll do it. I'll do
Same.
it. I'll
Sure.
do it. I'll do it. Right.
I've heard, you're self-employed. And,
Yeah. In the entertainment industry.
Which is
and it's-
definitely,
yeah. And
that
so,
is an actual grind from what I've heard. Like,
but I'm at a point where I now tell people like, hey, I'm off at 4:30. Like I have kids. Like I literally just can't fucking work after 4:30. Like
I've drawn that line. I've told people I do not answer my phone before a time. They call me a minute beforehand. I wait 2 minutes and call them back.
Well,
It's
now
never been a problem.
Now it gives me anxiety when people, because there'll still be like, there's other people who I collaborate with that'll like they'll message me at like 6 o'clock or whatever and be like, hey, can you do this? Or not like asking me to work, but can you check this out? Can you send me this? Whatever. And I'll just like start to feel anxious and like ignore the text message or something. But in terms of like people who I work for, I generally tell them like, hey, I don't work past this hour. On occasion, if it's something
there are times emergency stuff comes up where it's like, I got to jump on the laptop for a couple hours this Friday evening.
I'll go in.
It'll happen.
I'll go back in at nighttime, and I don't work on the weekends, right? But I still feel the way that Jeremy feels. So even though I get off, I still have this like overwhelming. I mean, I go in waves, right? But especially recently, like I just had this overwhelming like sense of just being stressed out all the time about shit. Like I think, raising a family, trying to like, maybe I've mentioned this before, maybe being an independent contractor, owning your business type thing, like adds to that. I don't know. But I think you're a little bit of an anomaly.
I would agree with that.
Yeah.
As I said, I see the futility, but I don't quite know how to relate to it or answer it.
I
The
feel
one
like-
way
Go
one way my wife has always put it is you have to find ways to fill up your cup. And if your cup is empty and you don't have a way to fill it up, you are stuck in that, which is why you're feeling stressed all the time or an endless cycle of it.
Right.
And I've figured out what it is that does that for me. Some of them are very simple. I like eating a sandwich, and that dumb fucking thing, literally the amount of times it puts a smile on my face and literally makes it like Tuesdays aren't that bad. Had a great sandwich. Like
Tuesday's sandwich day.
Yeah, it's
See,
just,
so he's doing
type
what
of
we're
stuff
saying
like
to
that.
do, right? Like
It's the
appreciate
simple
the
thing.
sandwich.
Yeah.
You know, Tuesdays aren't that bad. I think a lot of people have a very difficult time with that.
Agreed.
And I don't really know what it is. You were just going to chime in on that for a second there.
Oh, no, I just feel like you have the boomer middle class life,
Yeah.
Very true.
which is like so rare these days. So like you're not, I don't think what you are expecting out of life is like unreasonable or like extravagant. Like you have achieved like the moderate level of success and comfort that everyone feels like they deserve, but like so few people get these days.
No question. I feel like I'm privileged, or I am definitely privileged, and this should be the norm as opposed to the anomaly, like you're saying.
But I mean, you went to school for engineering. To compare the two of us, right? You went to school for engineering. You got out of school and you went straight to work.
Had a job before I came out.
In the industry that you were trying to work in.
Mm-hmm.
I went to school for English and illustration. I couldn't finish one of my degrees because of because my hands hurt, and even so, I was pursuing like a long shot career,
Sure,
like an artistic career, which I haven't given up on. I've sort of, my expectations have changed over the years, obviously, as success has failed to materialize. But like right out of school, I went to teach English in Japan. I did not consider that a serious job. I'm like very glad I did it because it was a great experience, but it did absolutely nothing to further my career. So by the time I left Japan when I was 30, I'm not quite at like square one because I have like work experience, and I wasn't like wasting my free time when I was there, but still, you started when you're like, what, like 23, 24?
yeah. You're starting at age 30 with no wage gain, and as finances have gone up and responsibilities have gone up, you're still making the same amount or less or more than
And
slightly less or more than you did.
not just wage,
before.
but like status, right?
Sure.
So you are 30 and you might be like low management, right? Whereas I'm 30, and when I came back from Japan, the first job I could get was as a executive function tutor. So basically, I ended up only with one student, which is like a weird situation. Normally you have many students, but basically I was like going to this 16-year-old kid's house and like helping him with life. Basically, I was sort of a special case because he was autistic, and most of the kids there, it's more about like school, like study. I was helping him with more just like getting through the day kind of thing. So I was basically like a highly paid tutor, right? It's not the career I'm pursuing. The job after that, I got hired as like a graphic designer, which I never wanted to be. Didn't go to school for graphic design, but that graphic designer is like the default job that you get when you're a failed artist and you know how to use computers. I don't think you're getting graphic design jobs if you're an oil painter, but if you know how to use Photoshop, you can get a job doing graphic design. And after that, I pursued artistic jobs for like 4 years, and none of them panned out, despite there being like a million entertainment companies around us, video games, movies. Like it's just too competitive. And eventually I moved. I did a copywriting job for a year where I was literally translating with the help of Google Translate products from like Japanese and Chinese and Korean to English for an online retailer.
Which just a heads up on a recent thing I read, translators are the number one most going to be the most replaced job by AI coming here.
That makes sense.
Yeah, I know somebody who was a translator for a hospital that lost their job already.
Wow. And copywriters are up there too.
Yeah.
So double whammy.
Yeah.
And then that, I parlayed that into a job as like a website manager, which is where I'm currently at. But it where you have like a ladder that you're climbing, I'm running switchbacks. Like,
For sure.
And I started late. So the trajectory is all out of whack, and like society does not account for that.
Well, I think that's a thing that's happening too, right? Like a lot of people are going to college for something and they're planning on, well, I'm going to do this as a career, but then they can't get a job for whatever it is that they went to school for. And then they end up having to do something else that's like not even related. And then they can't pay their fucking college loans back. And then it's just this vicious cycle of, not ever being able to actually climb up any ladder because you just have these weights tied around you.
The corporate structure has definitely changed. I don't disagree with you that your dreams will come true if you go to college, which was sold to our generation specifically.
Yeah.
Our parents got the ones who got college degrees literally changed their lives because they put them on a different level. I have tons of cousins younger than me who have degrees that it meant
just
nothing.
Didn't do anything.
Yeah. It was a big debt hole, really.
Yeah.
But I mean, what's society's responsibility for that though? It's hard for me to see because I went to engineering school, so I have a lot of peers who are maybe not in the exact same position as me, but we're coming out of school. My roommates, Dan, and the people who lived in the same house were in the same boat as me. Got through school, got jobs. Most of them are successful. Not everybody is upper middle class. Not everybody is, bought a house, but I don't see the same futility and grind with them. But I do know that it definitely exists in society. But I don't genuinely know how to solve it.
So
Normalize, wage scales.
To avoid this becoming like a grim conversation, I think the way I've been thinking about it is like, once you realize actual like futility. Like you like take stock of your situation. You realize like barring some like extreme stroke of luck, like very unlikely situation, like these are the cards I'm playing with right now.
Numbers just don't make it there.
Yeah, the numbers are not going to work. So I think then what's sort of good is to recognize that. I think a lot of people don't, like, they don't extrapolate that far into the future, and they're just like, it'll work out somehow. In the back of their mind, they know it's not going to work out, but they have to get through the day. So, and they just take it day by day. I think if you find yourself in that situation, what I've been trying to do is like think like, okay, well, how do I redefine success? Like, how do I, and like, I never wanted to be an office worker. My mom worked in office for 40 years. And when I was 20 years old and naive, I was like, I'm never going to work in an office. Look at me now. Like, I've got to redefine my terms of success. So like one of the things I've been thinking a lot about lately is just like reduced materialism, right? Like if you can't control your inputs, control your outputs, right? So, okay, what don't I actually need? What can I get rid of? Like, I've been encountering a lot more van life people online lately, and a common thread among those people. And I'm not saying I want to live in a van. I think my mom or my wife would balk at that.
Your mom probably would too.
My mom would too. She's earned her house. Yeah. She's paid it off. So, but yeah, showering out of a pump, not the best. But a common thread among those people is a sort of rejection of materialism. Is like, I've heard several of them say like, things cost you like so much more than you realize. Just like having things, like things are actually like a net negative, like having more stuff. One guy, I specifically asked him, how do you square this like minimalist lifestyle with the urge to like make stuff? Because I like making stuff. And he's like, well, to be honest, like I don't really have that urge. I hate trinkets, is what he specifically said. And I was like, fuck, I really like trinkets. The thing that I get out of making stuff is usually just the process of making is what I enjoy. Like once I have the thing, it just sits on a shelf for...
Yeah, like Legos.
Yeah.
I don't understand that fucking shit at all.
I didn't like Legos either, but I was more of a free play kind of kid. Like I made some staffs. I thought I'd be able to sell those online, but nobody bought.
The thing with the van life is like, I have a sister-in-law who was into the van life thing for a while. And she's still kind of in that hippie-ish realm.
Bohemian.
Yeah, very much so. And I think the problem with that is once you get older,
yeah,
you can't be fucking living.
You got
van
the
life,
arthritis,
right? Like it just doesn't work. And so that's one of the things, right? Like I think the people who are looking at van life, they're being like, okay, well, let's just do minimalist, get rid of everything, and then we'll just live in a van. But the reason that you are saving up and preparing is for when you're older and you're not mobile and you can't fucking be doing that shit. Well, those van life people aren't going to have anything saved up to take care of themselves when they're older. Right? Like, I don't know, maybe somehow they're bringing in a bunch of money through their van life, making trinkets.
And tchotchkes.
The only thing you can do, monetize your passion for creating trinkets.
Right. So they're bringing in a bunch of money, and then while they're young, they live in a van. And then once they have to slow down, they have a bunch of money saved up, whatever. Sure. Maybe that works. But, yeah, I don't know. Maybe it's a balance between the two. Like, we certainly have a lot more stuff than before, like the Industrial Revolution, right? Like, people didn't just have stuff.
Yeah.
Like, this is a very recent thing. Like, I feel like it started with like our parents' generation. Like, stuff started with the boomers.
My mom has so much stuff.
Right. And then it's kind of just snowballed into our generation.
Too much stuff.
Yeah. So maybe it's a balance of like, trying to like there's certainly like we keep equating it to like a financial thing, right? Like, well,
time is money, and like the fact is you got to eat and you got to have a roof,
right? But there's people who are also, they're fine financially, right? But they still have the mentality where it's like they have a hard time appreciating things. They're bummed out, they're stressed out, whatever, right? Like, I'm kind of in that boat. Like, we're like, I'm not, scraping by to get my next meal.
I think we talked about this one of the nights. You would always want more and more and more. Like you'd never be satisfied with.
I mean, I feel
status you're at.
like generally that's a human thing, right? Like that's how we've evolved, and that's how we've like progressed as a species.
Have we evolved that way, or have we been trained like little fucking monkeys?
In what way?
The idea of the consumer. This is like a created idea intentionally, right? We didn't used to think of ourselves as consumers, right? You think of like a citizen of a country as a consumer now. That is like a manufactured thing. I couldn't tell you who did it or how, but it's within the past 150 years, I'm pretty sure. When you have a capitalist society, you have a problem, right? And the problem is when people's needs are met, how do you keep them working, right? If people have quote unquote enough, what's to stop them from opting out of society, right? How do you keep the gears turning? And especially when you have a shareholder economy in which, you've railed against this before, but like the whole, the profits got to go up every year. It's not, you can't just make enough and get by. No, you've got to earn more. You've got to beat last year. We're down this quarter. We're only 26% up last time this year, right? The solution to this is marketing, right? The solution to this question is marketing. The question is, how do you manufacture scarcity, right? What you do is you convince people that they need the latest Adidas, the Sydney Sweeney's jeans.
That's the whole thing.
Out of the loop.
I saw a thing that was a racist. No, a
Nazi.
Like a Nazi, like
yeah.
a what the fuck is it? Where they're
eugenics.
Yeah. They're saying, if that's not a fucking eugenics situation.
It's called a pun, guys.
Right, I know, right? But they're saying, well, she's a blonde, hot, blue-eyed girl, and they're saying she has good genes. Like if that's not like a
guys,
Nazi
they're talking about her
message.
boobs.
Exactly.
I thought you were literally talking about jeans, like denim jeans.
That's the point of the commercial.
Okay, I'm very out of
it's
the
like
loop.
Those of you who haven't seen it, it's like focusing in on Sydney Sweeney, who's this popular actress, like very attractive.
Oh, I've never seen
I know
anything.
who she is. I
it's
just don't know the
basically like
commercial or the
zooms in.
conversation
Yeah.
around it. So.
It's like zooming in on her butt as she gets up, and she's wearing these jeans, and it's like
I think you see what you want to see.
Sydney Sweeney has good jeans,
Sounds like great marketing.
Yeah, it's referring obviously, and it's like all these people are talking about how it's like a Nazi fucking campaign and whatever because she's this hot blonde, blue-eyed, whatever. And it's like, dude, they've been fucking marketing like this since the 1980s, 70s before.
As a guy not on social media, you just explained it. That's so easy to like ignore. Like, Sydney Sweeney's hot and she's in a jeans commercial. That's all.
Look at all the Carl's Jr. commercials.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm looking.
Yeah. Bringing it back, reeling us in a little bit here. I think I disagree with you a little bit.
All right.
Like you're talking about.
What you got? Some brand shoes there?
You're talking about money, right? Like think about it. Like back before it was like consumerism, it was like, well, fuck, we need to hunt these animals better. Like these fucking rocks aren't working. Let's make some spears. Okay, cool. We got these spears. Well, I can't really throw them that far. Now I need to make a bow and arrow. Okay, well, fuck now. Like
you skip the addle.
Whatever. But we're constantly like, we're not fully happy as a species with whatever it is that we have. So we're like, all right, we have this hut. We need to build it to be a wood house. We need to be a brick house.
I've seen this story.
And then a wolf comes along. Yeah, but I mean, like whatever the factors are, whether it's a wolf that comes along and makes you want to build something, bigger, or
I feel like a wood house could keep a wolf out.
Depends on the wolf.
He's a big bad wolf.
Yeah,
big bad.
It depends on what type of wood. Is it wicker? Yeah,
sticks.
Balsa wood.
It was sticks. I think a wolf could get into a stick house.
Yeah,
that makes sense.
Yeah,
they skipped wood. They skipped a wood frame house.
But you know what I mean, right? Like I feel like it's not necessarily like maybe it snowballed into consumerism.
Yeah.
And then they took advantage of that.
Yeah.
But I think inherently as a human species, we almost have it in our genes to be like, it's not good enough because, X, Y, and Z is going to get you if you don't get better. Like you're not going to survive if you don't get better. Like the stakes keep getting higher. And we're just curious. We're curious little monkeys.
Okay.
And, what can we do with this? What can we do with that?
I think too many people aren't happy to live within their means. Everybody has different means. Mine might be greater than somebody else's, and there's plenty of people who have less than I do who are perfectly happy. It's the ones who keep chasing for more and more, bigger, better.
I have a hard time believing that anybody's actually really happy.
You've told me this. We've talked about this, and you've been working for months to convince me that there
was one time when you were drunk and you came up to me and you're like, Aaron, I'm going to tell you right now, just because I'm drunk, I'm not always happy.
Yeah, I'm like, that's the thing though. Yeah. I'm allowed to be unhappy currently in over a day, week, month, whatever.
Oh, absolutely.
But genuinely, like 99% of the time you've talked to me, I'm not lying or putting on a front. Like, I'm a happy guy.
I think people can be happy in a moment. I don't think happiness is a permanent thing, but I think
I'm not arguing for it's a permanent thing, but generally,
right.
I think plenty of people can be happy. I consider myself one of them.
I don't even know if happy is like the right word. I think maybe content is what
I consider myself above content though, because there's plenty of times.
I mean, I said it but like 30 minutes ago, but I think you're an anomaly.
I agree with you, but like one of the things that struck me is that you were like genuinely convinced. It wasn't even an argument about me. It was an argument about society. Like, I don't think anybody can be happy. And I was like, that's a ridiculous statement, because whether or not I'm proof of it, like, there's no way that there's plenty of. My grandmother is literally the happiest woman I know. She was a war bride, and she was, if you had met her, she was appallingly happy.
But you don't know what's going on in her head. Right, like, you know what she tells you. Same thing. I don't know what's going on in your head. Maybe you are. I could be absolutely wrong.
I agree. I don't know what's going on in her head, but I literally spent 37 years with her, and I saw her. So we were lucky enough that she was in good health. That she was at my parents' house a few months ago. We have pictures of her holding our daughter.
I just watched a documentary on somebody who spent 30 plus years with their husband and didn't know he was a serial killer.
I'm sure there was signs.
Yeah, maybe she's
look, man. You
quite the segue, but sure.
You could be, it all ties in with death. You could be happy, sure, but I think you're literally the only person that I've ever met.
He's the only happy person.
That's literally the only person. Like, crazy to me, because I wouldn't.
I've met one other person who was happy all the time. She would never admit it, and then I found out she was cutting her wrists in the bathroom.
Jesus.
Yeah,
dude, don't get me wrong. It's not like I don't have times where I cry or I get depressed. But overall, my life is happy. And I think if you were to ask me, I would say that there's not more people that are happy that are not. But I definitely wouldn't argue that, like, you're closer to you're the only unhappy person I know. I'm the only happy person.
I think happy is the wrong word. Happy and unhappy is the wrong word, because I don't think that's a permanent state of mind.
Satisfied?
Maybe satisfied, right? Like, I'm not unhappy. Like, there's times where I'm happy.
That's why it found me crazy. Like, I've known you for long enough now, and I've spent time with you. I've met your family, and it's like, I understand that you're stressed, you're overwhelmed, you're depressed at times, whatever it is. Like, but I wouldn't define you as just an unhappy person.
But there's people who have beautiful families, who have great jobs, who have money, who are always depressed,
absolutely,
who are always unhappy.
Not trying to argue against that.
Who kill themselves,
absolutely.
Right? Like, that's the thing.
I feel like that specific combination is what leads to a lot of those suicides. Is like, they look at their life on paper, they think, well, I've got the family, I've got the money, I've got the career, I'm still not happy, which means I'm incapable of being happy, and therefore it's time to go.
I wonder, and I know you mentioned the trigger thing here, so just, if you are triggered by this, we're gonna dive into it.
I think it's a bit late now.
Yeah,
trigger warning at the end of the episode.
People triggered have turned it off.
No. I'm just saying, like, if I wonder what the rate of suicide was 50 to 100 years ago compared to today.
Nobody had time because they're all getting eaten by wolves.
I imagine data exists about that, though.
You think so?
And I'm not trying to make an argument that today we're happier than we were in the past, or that, the stats are going in increasing favor in either direction. I'm more so, your outlook of calling me the anomaly of being happy is so bleak compared to my outlook of saying, I don't think that many people are unhappy. There are plenty of people who are unhappy. And I'm not saying that even friends of mine who I consider happy are not unhappy at times.
Again, I think we're using the wrong term.
Sure.
I don't think it's happy and unhappy.
Satisfied probably is a better definition of it, but the whole hook of that conversation was that you were essentially calling not just me out, like society. I was saying, like, I just don't think
Again,
people
I'm
are
not
capable
calling
of
you
it.
out. I'm not
That's
saying
I said you're calling
I
society
don't-
out, not me.
Yeah.
And that's what was like crazy to me. Was like, I don't agree with you on this. Like, I think there's plenty of people who are satisfied, content, happy, however you want to define it.
Where are they?
You literally know one. I'm sitting right next to you,
No,
man.
outside
Like,
of you. Outside of you.
They're all in
I
Bhutan.
mean, talk to
Where-
literally,
where's
talk
that?
to people in my family. Talk to
Yeah.
people who are
Okay,
friends
but
of
outside
mine.
of the
Like,
bushes, I think it's because you guys invented a beer.
Doxed.
You guys are
if
just
we're
sitting
actually
on that.
unrelated to the family, but we do brew. But no, I mean, I understand. Maybe it's just maybe I've curated a pocket of positive people around me, and that's why I feel that way. I'm not saying that none of them have bouts of depression or sadness or unhappiness, but I don't define the outlook of my society, my circle, as surrounded with negative emotions, unsatisfaction, discontent.
But this is what I'm saying. Like you're saying, right? I don't do this. I don't do that. That doesn't mean the people around you don't feel the opposite way, but maybe you're not acknowledging it, or maybe you don't see it because you're choosing to look at it in a positive
and
mindset, which is a
entirely
good
possible.
thing,
Yeah.
right? Like there's nothing wrong with looking at something in a positive mindset. Like if anything, that's a good thing. But and this argument could go against me as well, right?
I
Like,
didn't want to do that
yeah.
to you, but it is kind
But,
of like,
like-
you know, if you're gonna make that argument, it goes both
right.
ways.
But I don't know a lot of people that are like you. The way that you're saying it, you're assuming these people feel this way. They're not telling you they feel this way.
Sure.
I have people that are telling me, I'm not happy with this. I'm unsatisfied with that. I'm
Don't
stressed
look
out
at me
about
when
this.
you say that.
Maybe I need to delve deeper, but I don't pigeonhole myself within just my inner circle of friends. Like I literally go out and talk to everybody at a bar, everybody at a restaurant, everybody at a.
You talk to everybody at a bar? Oops, sorry, I got to time my
You've seen
shoes.
me do it.
And he's one of
literally.
those-
I was the fucking greeter for one of our events, and made multiple friends and got people into our group just by literally saying.
Well,
hi to people.
okay, that's actually a good. So we all know each other from like a dad group. Every dad from the dad group was talking about how they were depressed. other than you.
Which blew my mind because, dude, don't get me wrong. I
Yeah.
also think those type of events are defined around we need to get together and vent about what we're unhappy
No,
about.
it wasn't just
because
that was not. First of all, that's never the impression. That's how it
I
ends up
understand
going.
that's not the setup,
Yeah.
but even the reasons I go to those are because, to be honest, we have to hold it together within the household. I'm not
But-
saying we're the only ones, but you
Mhm.
have to do that within the household.
Sure.
And one of the benefits of going having a beer with your boys is you get to talk about whatever you want off the record, and sometimes all you need to do is just fucking say it out loud, and then you feel better. That's
But
part of the
if it's off,
functions
if it's
of
off
the group.
if it's off the record,
Put it on the record. I'm
but
not
that's what I'm
afraid to
saying.
do so.
These guys are saying these things because that's how they feel. It's not like I'm like venting and saying I'm unhappy are two different things, right? Venting is
you
being
do
like my
bring up
kids shit all over the room.
You do
and I
bring
had
up
to-
a very good
yeah.
point that when we got together the first couple times, it was me surrounded by a bunch of dads saying I'm unhappy and
but
depressed.
it wasn't also just because of having kids. It
Oh, I
was
agree. Spots in
jobs.
life,
It
changes in
was-
career,
right?
any
yeah.
number of things. I agree
Right.
with you.
So
bring
how do
up a
you
very good
fix
point.
it?
How do you fix it? So I don't know how to fix it because obviously, I go up and down with it myself.
Sure.
I think, I don't know, maybe we really do have to figure out a way to like really step back and just like, you said the minimalist thing, right? Like I think being mindful of things, we've talked about this before, being mindful of things is important. And a lot of us don't take time to actually be mindful about things. When I was younger, there was times where I would literally sit in the shower and I would sit there and I would watch the water just bead down my hand.
I remember those days. Now I got my phone.
Yeah.
In the shower, you bring it?
Yeah.
You got to hold it up high so it doesn't get wet.
No. So I would
Too
be
much screen time, man. I mean, this is one of the bases of this entire
I know.
conversation. Is that such a solvable problem? Go back
It's called
to
an
look,
addiction. I don't have control.
dude. Go back to looking at the water on your hand instead of your phone. I'm not saying you'll be happy, but you will be slightly less miserable.
I'll probably get more cleaning done that way.
But no, I would be in the shower and I would watch the water just bead down my hand and I would look at it and I would look at the lines in my hand. I would look at my fingerprints, look at my fingers, and I would just be like, man, isn't it fucking insane that I just exist? Like,
Just existential crisis after existential crisis.
Well, it's not an existential crisis. It's like, all these crazy things had to happen for me to be here, right? Like the universe had to form, then our galaxy and our planet, all this fucking shit had to happen. And then, we had to like rise as a species. And then once that fucking happened, well, then I have all of my ancestors that existed before, and they had to survive. They had to meet my grandma. My grandpa had to meet my great, 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 great grandmas and grandpas. And then their kids had to survive when there was kids like dying left and right. And then, the sperm had to win the race and whatever. I had to get here. I had to survive. It's just crazy. Like the amount of shit that had to line up for me to be here and me to exist is unfathomable.
And you just keep complaining about it.
And I just keep complaining about
Like,
it.
does that, I don't know, I kind of appreciate that stuff like that fascinates me and makes me like happy and proud to be involved, to take control and push and work towards the end of the grind, as opposed to be focusing on the futility of it, I guess.
But that's what's confusing about it to me is I know all this stuff. I think about this stuff, yet it's not just me. I know a lot of people know all this stuff. They think about this stuff. They think about, hey, there's people out there in Gaza that are starving. There's people at 25 that are getting brain aneurysms. There's somebody that was literally just shot in Manhattan today, right? Yesterday, whatever. But then you go about your day-to-day life and woe is me.
Yeah. Well, woe is me, man. So much woe.
Yeah.
I mean,
and it's confusing.
So I think you have the benefit of mostly enjoying your job, I would assume.
Yeah.
I get that impression.
Yeah. I'm good at it. I like it. And I've worked towards being where I am by design. So
yeah,
I've drawn the lines I need to have a personal and professional life and enjoy the people I work with.
And I think that is a big thing. One of the things somebody was saying recently was like, yeah, people used to work more, but they were like more free, right? So like you never had somebody like breathing over your shoulder, counting your pee breaks, your poop breaks, or whatever kind of breaks you're taking.
Reading your keystrokes.
You like
I don't live in that world at all. I never have. I've never felt that way.
Yeah, see, I mean,
have
In
that
school,
either,
in college, after school, in my career.
I have that. If I'm in the bathroom too long, I'm like, fuck, I'm gonna get like some. It's
of
never
which,
like I'm never
that's
like
wild to me.
I'm never
Yeah.
like reprimanded, but it's like, hey, where were you?
Yeah.
It's like that like
That's crazy to
that
me.
quiet judging.
Yeah.
Like, oh, you were pooping too long. It's like, well, look, man, I was awake
Little
for
backed
15. I was awake for 15 minutes before I got in my car. Okay.
Yeah.
So like, give me a break if you know what I'm saying. And stuff like that. There was like a dignity to work. There was a sense that the amount of labor you put in would directly correlate to the quality of your life, right? And I think to some extent you have that, right? You've said multiple times that you put in a lot of work to get to where you are, and now you're in a place where you're happy. Whereas I think for a lot of people, it feels sort of like spinning a flywheel with nothing on the other side.
Sure.
I just keep turning the crank and nothing happens. I'm hoping if I keep turning long enough, I'm going to get something. But so far, like signs point to no. And I think that is where a lot of it stems from. But I don't think it's necessarily like a fatal situation. I think like, so say that's your fate, right? And for you, like I know you have concerns about like the future of your industry, which I'm sure is like a big stress. But also just like, you feel like you can't turn off, just because that's like the fate of every like independent contractor.
Yeah.
It's like it's really hard to like separate your personal life and your work life. To some extent, I have like a benefit of my job is an hour away from my home. And by the time I'm home, like work is like the last thing on my mind. I don't think it's the end of the world. I just think too many of us wait until we have this number in our head, whether it's 55, 65, 70, where we think, well, my life is going to turn around then. And regardless of whether or not that's true, which for some people it is and some people it isn't, some people drop dead when they're 60, have an aneurysm when they're 25. I think for me, like I've reached the point where I feel like I'm not satisfied in like deferring satisfaction anymore. Like I want it now, and I'm going to like try and figure out like what that could mean. You know what I mean?
You
Like,
bring up a good point about the whole, there's a number that eventually my life will change and get better because I've worked towards that.
yeah.
And even I think about that. But I also am not disliking the journey to get to there.
Yeah.
And that is rare though, obviously.
I think you also feel like you're making stuff because you're literally making stuff, right?
Genuinely in construction. So I have fingerprints all over the city and it's exciting to see.
I think people get joy from that. There's different flavors of futility, right?
Sure.
There's the futility of like, I'm working really hard and my life's not improving, or at least it's not improving at the rate I'm like satisfied with, which is different for different people. But also like, I'm working and I was given these talents by, luck or by God or whatever the hell you believe in. And this is what I'm putting them towards. I'm putting them towards selling widgets. I'm putting them towards, like making some other guy rich. Like, why? Like,
Sure.
This doesn't like my job does not benefit society. 0%.
It doesn't satisfy you in any way either.
I mean, I do
anyway, but like
Yeah.
it's your limited your takeaway from it is exactly how you set it up.
I get little like, the gum with the bubble burst in it. I get a little burst of satisfaction.
Sure.
Usually when I get like a problem that's like kind of hard, but I'm able to figure it out. And those are nice. I get the little gamification, dopamine hit every once in a while.
Mhm.
But like I'm not helping anybody, right? I'm not helping me. So it's like, what am I doing?
I think a lot of us associate satisfaction in life too much to our jobs, right? Like I think a couple generations ago, it wasn't about like nobody was fucking satisfied. Like maybe some people, maybe Jeremy's relatives in the past were satisfied with their job.
I'd be interested in asking this question to my dad and my uncles.
Yeah.
Because I think a lot of them would be, but two of them are engineers. One's a retired cop. One's kind of floated in between a bunch of stuff.
But I'm even talking about, I'm like great-great-grandparents, right? Like
Sure.
It was like, well, we need to put bread on the table.
Say it with an accent.
And there's no accents coming out tonight, guys. Like
we should break into that.
Yeah.
if we can.
The concern was I need to feed my family. We need to survive. And now our generation is worried about, am I satisfied with what I'm doing? Am I contributing am I fulfilled? Is my cup filled?
Well, this
right?
is Maslow's hierarchy, right? We learned about this in college, which you didn't get a chance to go there. But
I don't think I learned about this at engineering school.
well, I guess they don't teach about important things like Maslow's hierarchy in
Evidently
engineering
not.
school. Maslow's hierarchy of needs is a very a very psychology 101 sort of topic, and I know this because I did not take any psychology classes. It's a pyramid, right? And Maslow was a psychologist, and he talked about basically the things that people need, and once you satisfy these needs, you move on to the next stage in the hierarchy, right? And so the base hierarchy is like food, shelter, sleep, right? And after that, you've got like, I don't know, I can't remember the exact alignment, but you've got like love, right? Or like being caring and cared for. And then you've got, you've probably got comfort somewhere in there, right? So you got like physical comfort as opposed to like just like not being in pain.
Entertainment,
luxury,
yeah.
Luxuries, and at the very top, you've got like fulfillment and self-actualization, right? The sense that you're doing something good in the world. And we look realistically, yes, we're sitting near the top of the pyramid and complaining while there are people at the bottom for sure. But you got to complain about where you're sitting, That's my life philosophy.
I think we all reserve the right, and it's one of the things that I have a hard time with is that as privileged as I am, if I do get depressed or have emotions, at times I feel like I don't deserve them. I have a great life, so if I'm knocked down, it's like I could have it so much worse. So that's the times where I go to my wife when I'm down, and she's like, "You're allowed to have emotions. You're allowed to be down."
Can we sing that song?
Maybe that's part of the problem too, right? Like we feel like we're privileged to have these things. We are privileged to have the things that we have, right? Like, and then you feel bad about feeling bad about it. And then you're like, well, I'm just going to put my head down and just fucking keep going. So then you're just stuffing away the feelings of why you feel bad about it. And you just keep going. And you never really take a moment to think about, why am I feeling this way? Right? Like, I feel like I don't want to say nobody, but I feel like a lot of people these days don't take time to just literally sit there and do nothing and just like think about their direction.
Turn your phones off and get off social media.
Right. But even if you do that, it's
I'm
still
doing
just
nothing by design.
Sure, but
it's unplug your brain.
Unplug your brain.
Because a lot of times I'm not even watching the game. It's just not doing shit for a second.
Yeah. I think a lot of people are not doing shit.
Yeah. It's tough for me to get on social media. I think same for him because it's like tied to like what we want to do.
That
I think I would try to be off more if I didn't feel like I could potentially benefit from it, you know?
So does that mean we're just contributing to everybody being fucking mentally destroyed?
Maybe.
Contributing to my misery, as you can tell.
Yeah.
But like one of the things I was thinking about while you were talking is like, if you actually think about this stuff where you feel contentment, it is like those little quiet moments and, or like moments with friends, moments with family, when your kid does something cute or, you know, you have like some little success and I feel like most of those things don't cost money, which is interesting, right? The stuff that usually brings contentment doesn't cost money. So like you're an artist, right?
It's questionable.
Of a sort. You're sort of an artist. And I feel like, there must be a part of you that drives, satisfaction from like success, from achievement, from, like the respect of either your peers or from like random people on the street. Like you want to be, I assume, to be like respected or loved or whatever by strangers.
I think a couple years ago, the answer to that would have been yes, or maybe even slightly. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
But now, since I've been starting to like think about more about like death and like, even I know we talk about this shit a lot, but like with AI coming along and all of that, I've completely lost my drive to create any type of music. I don't get any joy out of it anymore. I'm sitting there staring at my computer screen for fucking hours. And I'm like, what the fuck am I doing?
Yeah.
Like, what am I doing in life right now? And like, I'm not an unsuccessful artist.
Yeah.
Like, I'm a lot more successful than I have been or I've ever thought I would be. Right. And I'm like still relatively, I mean, like, you know, I've been doing it for years, but I feel like I've gotten to this place where like all the doors are open.
You're still early on the runway, but
right.
You got some momentum.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. I've got plenty of momentum. Like I could probably pick up the phone and like, you know, open any door that I never thought that I'd be able to open in the past. Like it's a small circle, but everything just kind of like these clouds started to come over all at the same time. And now I'm just kind of like, I'm not getting anything.
Yeah.
Is that career burnout or the result of, is it an internal reaction or an external reaction?
I don't know.
A little bit of both, even possibly. But that's tough. Yeah.
Yeah. But I don't think I'm the only one that feels that way.
I think every creative person is, maybe barring like dancers, maybe even them, or like sculptors, you know, but 3D printing. So who knows? Like every creative person and probably a lot of other people are grappling with that right now. And I don't think there's necessarily a right answer, but I think everyone does sort of have to think about it. I mean, you could bury your head in the sand and just like keep on trucking.
I mean, that's essentially what I'm doing, like in terms of like working or whatever, but it's just like, it's a lot harder to push through and like create. I'm still, you know, doing it just at a slower pace now. But like if we even rewound before I was feeling that way, like I would still, the sentiment of what I was saying to Jem here is like, it was the same, right? Like I feel like satisfaction was like a fleeting thing.
Yeah.
I'm not like, that's not saying I'm unhappy. There's never been a time in my life where I'm like, I'm going to kill myself, whatever. Like I've never been that, like I've gone through depression, but I've never felt like that heavy.
Yeah.
So where were you going though with the question?
I mean, if that's gone, do you think you could find a different source of satisfaction or joy or contentment or?
That is the question.
Yeah.
And that's the weird thing, right? Like, so I have kids, I have a wife, and those are the things that are really important, right? But if you're talking about the, like, what is it? The hierarchy thing, Maslow's hierarchy.
Yep.
Well, you need to have different things to fulfill.
You gotta have faith.
You gotta have faith. You gotta have different things to fulfill those needs, right? Like, it's not just the family. That is obviously a super important factor.
Yeah.
But
sometimes those people get real loud and you gotta get away from them.
Tonight was one of those nights. But you need to have multiple things. And I think just with the way the world is spinning right now, it's really hard to find other things outside of that that meet those needs. Because it's like,
true. And if career is not doing it, that's like the great enabler for all the other things.
Right.
Because on the financials, they enable the hobbies, the free time, the what have you.
Right. But even now, I'm kind of just like, I don't know. For me, like hobbies, it's kind of, it's like, well, I want my hobbies I want to be doing them for a reason, right? Like, I'm not somebody who can sit there and like, I'm going to do a puzzle. Like, I don't fuck a puzzle.
Don't knock puzzles. They're real fun.
I know a lot of people like them. I think I might be the anomaly in the puzzle hating.
I don't think you're alone in that.
There's 2 puzzle haters in this room.
No, I wouldn't call myself a hater, but I definitely can see how. Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't say I'm spending my free time doing puzzles beyond hanging out with my daughters. Yeah.
But I don't want to get heavy into the AI shit because that's a whole nother conversation. Yeah. But I think that's contributing a lot to, well, why am I going to do this? Because it's going to fucking just get taken over by, so whatever.
Like, say all of our usefulness was taken away tomorrow. Everybody. Like, you can't be useful anymore. Sorry. Robots can do your job better than you.
What's going to happen?
My growing sense is that the path away from insanity, which I think losing your purpose in that sense will drive a lot of people towards, is going to be finding a way to build a small, tight local community. That's my intuition. It's people you see, like people outside your family, but also within your family. It's fine. You can talk to your family. But people who you see regularly, maybe a cycling group, I'm not talking about cyclists, although if that's your thing. But like, people who come and go, neighbors, friends, whatever, like who you see and you interact with and you spend a little time with and you appreciate, like, I think, and who appreciate you for whatever you do. I think that's, like, to my mind, that's the way forward, which is essentially it's looking back because that's what we used to have.
Yeah.
Right. If you were the miller, the baker, the butcher, everybody had a position and everybody went to them for that thing. But also you stood over the fence and you shot the shit.
Maybe that's the big secret then, because I genuinely feel like I have that. And that is absolutely an anomaly on account of the community I live in. I have a local park. I have a grocery store where I know the owners. I have a brewery where I know the people.
You're also very outgoing and talkative, and you're not shy.
You mentioned a cycling community. It's like I feel like I get a lot of fulfillment from that. Like my best times are literally having those conversations, meeting guys like you, or even just having single serving conversations at a bar, watching a game or whatever.
Does that involve ice cream?
Sure, we can go to the ice cream bar. They sell alcohol there. But do either of you feel like you have any sense of that small local community?
I mean,
or at least the idealized version of it.
From the dad's group.
Yeah, I mean, that's why I started our dad's group. Yeah.
It's a perfect example of it, but that's only one slice of.
Yeah, no, I think maybe that's going to be a benefit of this AI shit, is it's just going to destroy everything we have now, right? And force us to get back to what we used to be.
It's going to take some time, but it could lead to an idealist.
Yeah. I mean, I think, maybe people are the key, right? Like, yes, you have your wife and your kids, but then you have to have friends in different avenues, right? Like, so if you're religious, whatever, you have your church, you have your family, right? That's separate. And then you have your bowling friends. Like if we're going if we're going a couple generations ago.
See, I don't have any bowling friends.
Yeah. Well, let's start a bowling group.
I brought that up at I literally brought that up at the last group meeting.
Yeah. Yeah. I think, maybe it does just have to do with the fact that the world is so digital now.
Yeah.
you know, and there is a lot of doom scrolling, but that's why I said, I wonder, compared to 50 to 100 years ago, what the rates of depression and suicide were then compared to today, right? Because they were certainly not non-existent.
I mean, to be fair, you did see a lot of men at the bar or
Yeah.
the pub or the tavern or
Right.
whatever.
And there was a lot of more child abuse back then, which
yeah.
meant there was a lot more depressed and stressed out men.
Yes.
And children.
Well, those
Yes.
children became our parents. Yeah.
I tend to think that there's less of them. You know, numbers obviously going higher total, but percentage wise going down.
I think there's less. I'm assuming. I feel like we'd have to look at the numbers, but I feel like parents are better, at least physically today, than they were. I feel like they at
You
least
can
try
see
to
it
be
in our
more a part of their
generation.
kids' lives.
We're
Yeah.
more involved from a fatherhood standpoint
Right.
specifically.
So what does that mean then? Right? Like, what is that like? Then that's just canceling out what we're saying.
Global happiness is going up, Aaron.
Yeah.
Turns out.
Steven Pinker.
Is it though? Like,
Sorry, maybe not global happiness, but local happiness is going up.
I think we should visit Bhutan.
I don't know where you said that, and I don't know where that is.
And I'm not against it, but it's not number one on my list,
Yeah.
dude. There's
It's the
plenty of places I'd rather go.
It's the happiness capital of the world.
Where is it?
Bhutan?
Yeah, it's in Asia.
That's surprising to me. I would have thought it would have been a Scandinavian country
Yeah.
because I've always heard that they're
Thought
super progressive.
You think
And
of Denmark.
I thought it was like Denmark or Sweden.
that's exactly where
Yeah.
I went. Like
Think of like your image of like Shangri-La if it was a real place.
some of us are living in Shangri-La. I'm not from SoCal, so I genuinely love SoCal. I've told you guys that before. I'm from the East Coast. I've been here for a while, and
Again,
I
this
don't
is
live
where
in
our
paradise, but I
personalities
live
separate
pretty
because I'm
close
not
to
from
it.
SoCal either, and I don't.
I think
love
it does help being a transplant here. Because I didn't grow up here, I realized how much I love it and appreciate it. I was just outside of Boston last weekend for the funeral, and love to visit the place, but so glad I don't live there. Miss the family, but generally love SoCal.
I didn't grow up here either. I don't love it.
I can understand the people who don't love Southern California, but it absolutely hits with my vibes in a number of ways. It's laid back, it's social, it is
Hot.
It's hot. I will take heat over cold though, personally.
Yeah.
And not everyone will. You know, the fact that we don't get 4 seasons doesn't really bother me because 3.5 seasons of the year are beautiful out here.
You know what's funny? I never heard people talk about having or not having 4 seasons until I left Southern California. Like I don't think because I am from here actually. I'm from San Bernardino, roughly speaking, which is hot and dry. And nobody ever talked about the lack of seasons, except around Christmas time. In which case
that goes pretty quickly in a week though.
we lamented
after that.
the lack of snow.
And half the time it's 65 degrees and gorgeous, so it's like, well,
It's not 65 degrees. You're putting on sunscreen and it's 90 fucking degrees.
It's 90 degrees on
in
Christmas.
December. I mean,
Yes.
it can be. but-
It's been very often. Anyways, this is way off course here. But I think, any closing words that you'd want to say to anybody, Jeremy, that might be looking
Jeremy,
for
how do we be happy?
satisfaction?
I didn't even mean this as my intention, but one of the biggest things that came up multiple times was screen time and getting off social media, which
right.
has been genuinely I've been an advocate of that for years.
Yeah.
One time my wife made me a Twitter. I got an email and I said, "You cancel that shit right now." I literally yelled at her, like, "Don't ever sign me up for that."
I think out of
my
all
life.
of them, definitely get off of X
That-
or
like,
Twitter.
That's
Yeah.
not blowing anybody's minds. I don't feel like I'm
No.
dropping any crazy knowledge, but I do consider that a part of why I am genuinely a little bit happier than some other people.
Yeah.
But
So-
I also do think that I tend to live with my means, and I am very social and outgoing, and I don't fear rejection anymore because I worked in a huge rejection heavy industry for a while. So you learn to get over that type of stuff. And I've also been with my wife for 20 years now. So there was never any fear to go talk to a girl, a guy, a stranger in a bar. And plenty of my friends are like, "How do you do that?" Like, dude, who am I trying to impress at this point? That's an anomaly thing too. I have a high school sweetheart. That's not most people.
So his advice is to,
Get off your phone.
turn the podcast off.
Well, you can listen.
Go back in time, fall in love with your
Yeah.
high school sweetheart,
Yeah.
get dealt a good hand.
There you go. There you have it, guys.
And appreciate the human connection because I am completely a people person. I get satisfaction out of learning about people and talking to people, whether I can help them or they can help me.
What do you got over there, bud?
I just like to avoid people. I think I don't know. I don't have an answer. I have a lot of questions, And so if anybody has any answers, I would appreciate to hear them in the comments.
Yeah. Give us some of those comments on how to be happy in this modern day and age. I feel like, because I don't have the answers either. I think Jem, man, it's so hard calling you Jem. I think Jem has a lot of good suggestions. I do think the digital thing is like a big part of it. But turning this podcast off, putting your head on the pillow, getting some sleep, because that's a huge thing. Sleep.
But before you do, be sure to like and subscribe.
Ba-bam. Later. All right. Good night, guys.